The following is a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Dallas set 4 players inside the 6-yard box. RSL keys the runs from around the penalty spot. They run towards the near post. Luna whips it in, headed away by Ibiaga. That's what he's in there to do. And now Sarver going the other way. Sarver splits 3 defenders. He's all alone into the RSL half. Here's Sam Sarver at full stretch. Sarver to seal it!
FC Dallas is riding high after a huge rivalry win this past Sunday, 2-1 against Austin FC at Q2 Stadium, with 3 points in the bank and 5th place in the West. Dallas possession coming into the evening. The Burn look to build on that success with 2 more road games this week. That starts tonight in Utah, as Real Salt Lake is the opponent. RSL is just 2 points behind Dallas in the Western standings and are looking to avenge a 3-1 loss to the Toros earlier this year in Frisco. It's a late summer 6-pointer in Sandy as Real Salt Lake hosts FC Dallas. Along the lines of the FC Dallas Radio Network, it is the FC Dallas pregame show presented by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. On tonight's presentation, we'll have the sounds of tonight's match. Our commentary team for the evening, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis, will join me to break down tonight's contest. But first, we go ahead and bring in Steve Davis for a look at the major headlines. Steve, it feels like I only saw you just, 48 hours ago, 72 hours ago, something in that nature.
It feels that way, Sam, because that's what happened.
Oh, okay. Well, it was a very immaculate night. Austin turned red, at least for Sunday Night Soccer, as Dallas gets that big win. And, Dallas has been searching for that first post-World Cup MLS win. Picked up a couple in Leagues Cup, but that was the first time they've done it against an in-league opponent. And you got to think not just the win itself, but the way that they won that game could hopefully propel them forward and maybe elevate them up the standings as they finish out this post-World Cup campaign.
Yeah, look, I thought the vibes were pretty okay after Leagues Cup. We talked about it, that it didn't end up the way everybody wanted it to, but the Leagues Cup as a whole I thought was a positive experience. They won 2 of 3 against good Liga MX opposition. They only lost one of the best teams in Liga MX. 20 of you guys contributed, which keeps the locker room happy. So then you go into Austin. They found a way to win. They outshot the opposition. By the way, they outshot the opposition for the first time since early May. I think it was a good match overall. Never mind the heat, the travel, the schedule, the brutally tough schedule on everybody. So now you have a positive result in 4 of your last 5 matches, and it's another tough one tonight because of the short rest and travel, but this team just keeps plugging along and keeps finding a way.
Well, in the lineup charged with doing that again tonight, it's Jonathan Sirois in net, Shaq Moore, Osazi Urguide, Nolan Norris, Bernard Kamungo, Kaique, Ramiro, Herman Johansson, Santa Moreno, Joaquin Valiente, and Peter Musa. And for fans wondering, hey, wait a minute, I listened to the postgame show on Sunday. Y'all told us Osazi Urguide was out and Nolan Norris would come back in. Well, we were half right. Nolan Norris is back after his yellow card suspension. But we were wrong because it turns out MLS was wrong. They had miscounted thanks to a good behavior decision for Osaze. That took his 4 yellow card number down to 3, which meant when he picked up a yellow card on Sunday in Austin, much to our now surprise, he was still good to go. That's a big boost for Dallas as they are kind of towing the line of discipline here, but they get their first choice back line tonight.
Yeah, and that stuff, administrative mistake, administrative error does happen every now and then. So, it works out this time for FC Dallas, and it is good that you've got another option in there. Again, very short rest. The team gets back really late Sunday night. They have just a sort of a run around and kick the ball a little bit training on Monday. Then you got to get back on the bus on Tuesday. I know they had some other issues that came up, but the point is, very short rest, and then it is good just to have even one more option available there. It kind of surprised me, Sam. I thought this was going to be the rotation game. That's sort of what we looked at the other day when we thought that they had more travel, short rest. But, look, Eric Quill, he knows more about his players and where they are physically than we do. Maybe Vancouver will be the rotation game coming up. But anyway, here we go. Azazi's in there. He's able to deal with Sergey Solans and Diego Luna, and you need all the help you can get. And by the way, Nolan Norris getting forced rest the other day because of the yellow card suspension. That's a good thing too. So he's back in the lineup, but that's a good thing. Now you got 2 or 3 along the back line, well rested.
I have a theory about this. We'll talk about it in segment 3.
Okay.
That's what we call a tease there.
Okay.
But looking, you're talking about players that have played a lot. Man, I'm looking at Bernie and Herman. And first off, hand clap for them playing so much and being able to, even as recently as Austin, show quality in doing it. I think they both had at least above average games down in the state capitol.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, and again, like you said, Quill knows these guys way better than we do because he sees them every single day and he talks to them. He's got a great performance staff. I just kind of feel like you're kind of playing like Plinko every time you drop the little thing. Sometimes it's going to land on good, but I'm just worried it's going to hit that bad mark at some point. Am I being too fearful, or is this a logical thing to consider?
Sam, I feel the same way, but every time they go out there and give me another performance, at this point I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just wrong. I guess they're just indestructible, and they're, if they do, fall over exhausted, then we'll say, okay, well there you go. But until now, I thought that they might come out of the game the other day. They didn't. They just kept plugging along, and I thought Bernie Kamungo in particular was pretty good. The way Herman Johansson plays wing back on the other side, he's really more of sort of something in between an outside back and a midfielder. He's not really a true wing back, and then he's flying up and down the right side. So he does sort of conserve a lot of energy back there and save a lot for defense. So maybe he doesn't surprise me as much. But Bernie Kamungo is up and down the line on the left. They keep getting it done, so I'm going to quit doubting them.
Yeah, me too. And another group I'm going to stop doubting is that top line, because this is I think we can all pretty much now agree this is the number one starting line in Musa, Moreno, Valiente, and I think specifically looking at Musa for a minute, we've got to start having this conversation until it happens. The goal record is in his sights. He's on 14. The tying number is 18. The record is 19 for the MLS regular season. We're in danger of that happening at this point, maybe before the end of September, because he's on a goal contribution a game, and he had a fantastic goal when we thought he was out of gas on Sunday. Well, he gets to go to Salt Lake tonight, whose defense is a little shaky that I'm sure we'll talk about. It feels like 15 is well within reach tonight.
Yeah, I mean, touch wood a little bit, because we've had this conversation before, I feel like, a couple of years ago with Jesus Ferreira, where it looked for all the world like he was going to be able to get the record, that his goal scoring sort of stalled. And but to be very fair, it was not anywhere near this with this many games left.
No.
We still got, 14 games left after tonight?
15, I think.
15 including tonight, I believe.
Yes.
So if keeps any kind of pace that he close to what he has right now, he's going to not just break the record, but shatter it.
I should think so. And again, just a reminder, it's 18 to tie, 19 in MLS. He needs 19 to tie 20, the overall record. That includes playoffs, Leagues Cup, that sort of thing. Jason Kreis and Peter Musa are tied for that as well. That's a really good name to be associated with when it talks about scoring in Dallas and MLS in general. Well, tonight's opponent has been in the headlines a little bit lately before we talk about their recent form, because they had a big move. That's wingback Xavier Gozo, the 19-year-old U.S. international, who a lot of people thought should have gotten some run in the World Cup this year. He's on his way out. It's a deal that's done, $15 million or thereabouts. He'll be joining Chris Richards and Crystal Palace as their season begins, I think, this weekend or next weekend. It's right upon us.
Yep.
And, there's a lot of angles to take on that, Steve, and I know we were talking a little bit about it before that we started the broadcast. But regardless of whether you think it's a good or a bad for RSL, it's a huge endorsement of what that player has done and what U.S. soccer is producing right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Gozo for $15 million to a Premier League team, that's good business for RSL. And that academy has done a really good job. I think it's that one, Dallas and Philadelphia historically have been the 3 academies most responsible for producing top-end talent within the Major League Soccer academies. So good for RSL for that. On the other hand, it's just it's Exhibit A of why this move, this calendar flip we're about to see, where they do the sprint season next spring, and then they flip the calendar and they start the MLS season in the fall to more closely emulate the European season. So it's the reason, one of the reasons you want to do that. It's all about transfers, and to me, it just always seemed so antithetical to American sports when you lose one of your best players in the middle of the season. It's like this guy's just flying. He's going to take us into the playoffs, so now we got to sell him and get rid of him. And it's just so weird. So on the other hand, I mean, I do want to say that it's going to hurt Real Salt Lake, but this is a pretty good team. I mean, I know that their form doesn't look great for Major League Soccer, but right now. But if the headline is 7th in the West and 5 MLS games without a win, I'm here to tell you they're better than that. A little bit vulnerable defensively in spots, and now of course they've lost Gozo. But listen to this, Sam: 10-1-2 at home this year in all competitions. 10-1-2 with a plus 20 goal difference. I mean, they're a really good team at home.
Yes, and that's kind of the thing. I think a lot of people see their recent MLS form and their Leagues Cup form, and they're like, oh, they're just like Austin. Austin had a really good Leagues Cup, but they've struggled in MLS since May. No, that's not what this is. Austin is a very different animal, and RSL is, as you mentioned, a home monster. America First, Rio Tinto, whatever you want to call it, has been a real struggle for a lot of teams.
They still call it the Riot.
I mean, they should. It's a better name, in my opinion, but I'm not selling sponsorships for RSL. But, obviously, even though we're talking about Xavier Gozo, you mentioned the two big names there that Dallas is going to have to worry about. They're both on offense. It's Diego Luna, who also probably should have gotten some time at the World Cup, and Sergi Solans, who is like, what if Logan Farrington, but somehow even a more prolific scorer.
Sergi Solans was just a guy, just an interesting rookie when these teams met back in May. And now, I mean, he's a guy that scores prolifically. He's a guy who can run in behind defenses. He can play as a target, not just as a target, but similar to what Dallas has. He can be a very physical reference in there. So he really looks like call him a rookie. I mean, he's a 23-year-old Spaniard, so maybe not really a rookie in the way we think about him, but is new to Major League Soccer, and he's making a mark this year, Sergei Solans.
And bad news bad news for RSL. There's rumors that teams in France are looking at him too. So you might have a lot of money but soon in transfer fees, but money can't play striker or wingback unless they've changed unless AI has really, really changed over the last 2 weeks. But that is Steve Davis, who can do pretty much anything you ask him to, wingback, striker, commentator, whatever you need from him. You'll hear him on the broadcast tonight along with Ryan, and he'll rejoin us in our third segment to break this one down a little bit further. Steve, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
When we return here on the FC Dallas pregame show, we'll have the sounds of this week's match. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
You push your body hard in the name of fitness. Sure, it's for a good cause. But a good cause shouldn't mean sacrificing a good time. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now. We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
Want to hear something incredible?
The treatments are over, the infusions are done. Now you can get back to all the kid fun. We'll miss you lots, but you'll be happy to know chemo is over, so it's time to go.
At Children's Health, we're making groundbreaking advancements in cancer treatments every day to bring more healing and more hope to families. Innovative treatments filled with hope. That's incredible together. Learn more at childrens.com.
When you don't compromise on the court, you shouldn't compromise off of it either. Lose the calories, not the taste. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Copyright 2024.
Winner, winner, Chick-fil-A dinner. All season long, when FC Dallas wins at home, fans win free Chick-fil-A. Be sure your Chick-fil-A app is up to date and location services are turned on when you attend matches at Toyota Stadium. After the team wins, before you leave your seats, open the app to redeem the Chick-fil-A offer. Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. In our next segment, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis will join me to break down the lineups and tactics for tonight's Western Conference showdown. But first, let me tell you about the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed available everywhere you get great free content. It's anchored by the post-game show, highlights, stats, analysis, everything you need to know about the match that was in a 30 minutes or less package. It goes live on the radio network shortly after the final whistle, but is uploaded later that night, available anytime you want great FC Dallas game analysis. Meanwhile, we're in Season 2 of the FC Dallas Agenda, the official FC Dallas podcast. In fact, as you're hearing this, we just released a brand new episode yesterday talking about the performance in Leagues Cup by FC Dallas, looking at the win against Austin, as well as previewing tonight's match. It's also got a great interview with none other than Petter Musa, the current MLS Golden Boot leader and MLS All-Star for FC Dallas. Those episodes normally come out on Wednesdays on a regular match week, but since this is a 2-match week with a game on Wednesday, we released it a day early. That way you can have it ahead of tonight's matchup. And this season, we've also debuted the Build-Up, the official FC Dallas game preview show, injury analysis, lineup predictions, opposing matchups, everything you need to know about the upcoming match in a nice 20-minute or so package that drops just over 24 hours before the next matchup. So how do you get all this great free content? Go to your podcast provider of choice, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get great podcasts. Type in FC Dallas Radio Network and hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our great free content. Now let's get to the sounds of tonight's match, and those feature Dallas manager Eric Quill and wingback Bernard Kamungo.
Confidence, I mean, that's what you need in sport, and it was a great win. I think the spirit is alive here, but we know we have a game ahead of us and in a tight race. So Salt Lake at home is tough to play against, and we have to be up for it, and we got to form a good game plan, and then the execution piece has to be there. I mean, we do an amazing job with our staff and our medical staff of getting guys turned around. And yeah, it's the bodies. It's recovery. It's putting all the resources to recovery and finding out what the best matchups are for the next game plan and who's in good form. And there's a lot of variables that go into choosing a lineup, and the travel is obviously a factor too. So minutes played is we got to keep track of making sure we keep a healthy group going. So that's key first, is making sure our guys are healthy. But it's these guys have stood up to the challenge beautifully in this road stretch, and I expect the same thing this week. They have a great mentality, fighting spirit. They've got, Luna. They got some weapons that are really dangerous if you're not collective and compact. If your spaces are too wide and big, guys like Luna are gonna hurt you. So it's just really being aware and locked in, making sure we know, again, with the ball, where our risk versus reward areas are, and being aggressive. I mean, you don't go there and be back-footed, so we got to stay front-footed, and it doesn't matter what travel, what game we played on Sunday, it doesn't change our mentality for aggression.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's been a lot of games, like you said, and it's very difficult to, just recover quick within 3 days and play another game. It's not easy, but, we're just looking at game after game, and then last game was, just what we needed, a win, so we could all be motivated for the next one and just keep climbing off the table. Yeah, I mean, we know they're a good team, and obviously we just have to focus on ourselves. And if we could bring our quality up, I'm sure we'll come out with the dub. So yeah, we're just trying to focus on ourselves, get all the rest we need to recover, and then just everybody do their homework. And once we step on the field, we just show out. Well, honestly, for me, I actually don't be knowing who we play next until like the week of the game. So right now, I only knew about Salt Lake and Vancouver because obviously we're traveling. So I learned a little bit about that, but I only studied, Salt Lake the last couple of days. So now I'm just focused on Salt Lake, and that's it.
When we return on the FC Dallas pregame show, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis join me to help break down tonight's lineup and tactics. This is FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games, plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
God, I'm saying wow.
This is Logan Farrington, striker for FC Dallas. Behind every goal, there's a team you don't always see. The ones keeping everything running, secure, connected, ready. That's General Informatics. From cybersecurity to smarter IT solutions, General Informatics powers FC Dallas with advanced technology support so we can stay focused on the game. General Informatics. Complex IT made simple.
Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. We've got about 20 minutes from kickoff at America First Field, so let's go ahead and get you the starting lineups for tonight's matchup. And those starting lineups this evening are brought to you by our friends at Advocare. Let's start first with the home side Real Salt Lake and fifth-year manager Pablo Mastroeni. It's Rafa Cabral, the Brazilian, in net tonight for RSL. Juan Jose Arias, Philip Quinton, and Lucas Engel on the back line. Juan Manuel Sanabria, Noel Caliscan, Stein Spearings, and DeAndre Yedlin, the longtime U.S. MNT veteran, in the midfield, alongside Diego Luna, Morgan Guilavogi, and Sergi Solans up top tonight for RSL. Now let's go ahead and get you the starting lineup for FC Dallas and second-year manager Eric Quill.
Jonathan Sirois, goalkeeper, Montreal, Canada.
Shaq Moore, right back, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Osaze Origide, centre back, Netherlands, Nijmegen.
Nolan Norris, midfielder, Fort Worth, Texas.
Herman Johansson, wingback, Sweden.
Ramiro Benetti, midfielder, Brazil.
Kaique, midfield, Brazil.
Bernard Camungo, I'm a winger, and I'm from Abilene, Texas.
Joaquín Valiente, mediocampista, Uruguay.
Santiago Moreno, mediocampista, Colombia.
Petar Musa, forward, from Zagreb, Croatia.
And the reserves tonight for Dallas: Lalos Bubakar, Ron Benjamin, Patrickson, Christian Kappas, Logan Farrington, Sebastian Biaga, Sam Sarver, Michael Collodi, and Clay Holstad. Now let's bring in our commentary team for this one. It's Ryan Figert, it's Steve Davis, and Ryan, we were talking leading into this one about would this be the rotation game, and obviously looking at this extremely strong 11, arguably the best 11 Dallas has with the roster available to them, the answer is no. So my theory, and that I teased in the first segment, I wonder if Eric Quill sees, okay, we got 3 points against Austin. That's a team that's pretty down bad right now. We're going to RSL. That's a good road team, but they're not as good in the standings as we are. They're below us, and they're kind of coming off a good Leagues Cup, but they haven't won since May. Maybe this is where we get the 3 points, and then we go to Vancouver, which is a juggernaut on Saturday. Maybe that's where we kind of throw in the towel. We try to get as many points out of this relatively weaker opponent, almost like how Leagues Cup went for Dallas.
Yeah, maybe. It's certainly a possibility. The data sort of from Eric Quill's choices in the past tells us he does like to go all in on one rotation game, and we've just been sort of searching for when that's going to come. In the first half of the season, they completely rotated in a game at Seattle, which was thought of as probably the hardest game of a long stretch. So I could see that logic potentially going into Vancouver, but also it's a place where they won last season in the regular season, where they had experience playing in the playoffs as well. So it's a venue that, I think he won't feel as daunted by. Now, granted, Vancouver is a fantastic team and easily the class of the West so far. So I see the logic in that decision if that is the way they go. But also I sort of see, maybe there is not going to be a rotation game. Maybe he feels like the team is playing well together, developing chemistry, and he just wants to ride that as long as it can go until the wheels potentially fall off at some point.
And by the way, adding a little bit to your theory, what team in Major League Soccer over the 21 years in Utah they've had Major League Soccer, what team has the most wins?
FC Dallas.
There you go. So it is a place, not saying they go in there and tear it up all the time, but they certainly have more success there historically than in places like Seattle and Portland and mostly everywhere else on the West Coast.
I want to say it was 22 or 23, Steve, where RSL had been undefeated at what was then Rio Tinto, now America First, and Dallas ended up going in there sometime right around this time, and they handed them their first loss at home. I cannot remember which of those 2 years it was.
Yeah, won 3 out of the last 4 games in Utah, so it's been one of the only happy hunting grounds in the Western Conference on the road before even Eric Quill took over.
So maybe the red in that red hat is blood as he smells it tonight, trying to get 3 more points and try to move up the standings here because, and if he's going to do it, he's probably going to do it with his best defense out there tonight, Shaq Moore, Osaze Urgide, who is not suspended if you're just tuning into our pregame show. MLS miscounted a good behavior yellow card recension, so he is now back on warning after his yellow card in Austin, but he's available to play tonight. So is Nolan Norris, who 100% did miss the Austin game with a yellow card. And, I know there's a lot of discussion nationally about this team just being a set-piece and Petter Musa team, but I think that really kind of undercuts, Steve, how good this defensive back three can be when they're all together.
Well, not only that, Sam, but 2 of the 3 are rested tonight. And by the way, if it's whatever the result is in the 88th minute, if Osaze doesn't have a yellow card, you know what? Just take one.
Yeah, I think you're right, too.
Go ahead and take it. Get your rest, because what you don't want is for them to say, well, we need to rest Osaze tonight against Vancouver, and then the next match out he gets a yellow card. Then he has to sit out another one. So go ahead and get your forced rest, but, that's for them to decide. But, yeah, you're right. During this good stretch where they've really – only sort of gotten opened up by Toluca down there. During that stretch, Sirois just hasn't had to do that much in goal. I mean, he's been very solid, I think. I'm not saying anything bad about him, but the back line has been quite good, and that includes, by the way, Johansson and Bernie Kamungo on the outside. So tonight, as long as those 2 guys can keep their legs underneath them, the back line should be fresh.
Yeah, and one other thing, I think when you try and balance the equation of all of these games in an 8-game month of August, maybe, they just decide that the game against RSL, who's a team that theoretically is going to be jockeying for similar positions in the sort of maybe 3 through 8 area of the Western Conference, that's more of a 6-pointer than Vancouver, who is already, a good chunk ahead with games still in hand for the Whitecaps. So maybe it feels like a more important game because of that as well.
And you can also make the argument that this is a comment on where Dallas is, because last year Dallas was hoping, okay, we're trying to get to that 9 to 7 space where you're either just out of the playoff, which is where they ended up in 7th, or we're trying to fight for a play-in spot. This year we're talking about them, hey, we're trying to get between 3 and 6, where we might even host, have home field advantage in that first round. That, I think, is a sign of progress. And while I think we can credit some of that, Ryan, to Petter Musa having yet another outstanding year, you look at his front foot partners tonight, Santi Moreno, despite the fact we know he's dealing with a little bit of some sort of injury, is having himself just a whopper of a campaign, even though the scoring hasn't been quite there. The soft skills have been out of this world. And really, Joaquin Valiente is coming into his own after a nice 20-game campaign. He's starting to feel it. Like this group is really operating, that forward trio is really operating in a nice space right now.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm not super surprised that there was no rotation, because it's been one of the only really missing things consistently under Eric Quill so far is developing chemistry with different groups in the attack. Lucho Acosta was a big part of that last year. We've seen some good stretches of Moose and Farrington together, but really settling on what your best front 3 or front 2 is, and allowing them to build chemistry, because just as important as chemistry along the back line and when to step and when to drop and how to hold the line, it's also crucial in the front line and when to make the runs in behind, how to time that pass. Am I looking for a 1-2 here? Do I want the ball to feet, or do I want to go in behind? I think these are the things that they're working on developing, and more time on the field together can only help that.
And by the way, as we've talked about, I don't think it's quite been fully developed between Moreno and Petter Musa, but it has really shown lately between Bernie Kamungo and Santi Moreno. He put in Bernie Kamungo twice the other day in really good spots, and Kamungo probably should have scored one of them. And you're right, Sam, the goal scoring hasn't come, but the assists are coming. He's opening up the defenses. By the way, in like the last, I think it's 6 games now, there's only been 3 guys with assists. That's Valiente, Kaike, and Moreno that we just talked about. So it's great that they're doing their part. They could use a little bit more help. By the way, those wing backs, I'm looking for some assists from them too.
And especially if you look at Musa's goal against Austin, as you commented on the postgame show, that doesn't happen without Valiente really drawing those 3 defenders, allowing Musa to have the space to do what he did, shift to his weaker foot and score the goal. So it's not just what's on the counting stats. It's you got to watch the games and you see a lot of value there. But I love that you bring up the wing backs, because that's been a point of discussion. It feels like for the last week and a half. When are they going to get off their feet? Because they have been starting and going pretty much the entire way. And, looking at the roster tonight, they might be going because I don't really see a lot of depth behind them. Josh Torquato's not in the 20 tonight. Shaq Moore is the backup wing back. He's playing at right center back tonight. They're just, at that specific position, there's just not really any depth of real MLS quality right now.
Yeah, that's why I'm quite certain as they walk off the field, they wrap them in bubble wrap and then just transport
them. Hyperbaric chamber.
Right, pick them up and carry them in.
Armed security, make sure that they're at all times.
Absolutely. It's a little bit tenuous that way because if one of those guys goes down, it's like, it's a little bit of a house of cards. What else starts falling? But for right now, again, it's working. So what can you say? I really thought the other day that a lot of guys out there were looking tired, and I thought maybe Eric Quill should have gone to the bench a little bit earlier. Well, they didn't, and they won, and it just I'm not second-guessing Eric Quill anymore.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the depth on the right side as much because we've seen Shaq can play there. Sam Sarver has come in and played minutes there, and even Ramiro played a good chunk of the season there last year. It's the left side where really without Torquato, who we know traveled with the team and is on this trip, which is a dual trip with the Vancouver game coming on Saturday, didn't make the 20 tonight. That means there's truly no backup on the left side tonight.
Yeah, the closest I can see of anyone that may have played in that spot.
I mean, Shaq has played there once or twice.
Benjamin.
Yeah, it's Benjamin. That's not. I mean, with all due respect to Ron Benjamin, who's a much better soccer player.
He's not Bernie Kamungo.
He is not Bernie Kamungo. That's exactly right. Well, looking at the opponent tonight, we have a little bit of time. RSL 7th in the West, as we've already mentioned. But Dallas has already got a win on them. They beat them in Frisco on May 9th, 3-1. We've already mentioned Xavier Gozo, not with the team because he doesn't play for Salt Lake anymore. He plays for Crystal Palace of the Premier League. I have written down for mega bucks. I think that actually means right around $15 million in U.S. dollars. And while Gozo is not there, Ryan, Diego Luna is here. Sergey Solans is here. Saba Lobjanidze is here from Atlanta, and he's starting to kind of show a little bit of chemistry. And, when it comes to this matchup in particular, I think it's going to be maybe first to 3 wins because these are some decently powered offenses tonight.
Oh, interesting. I think there's a chance that it's a very defensive game tonight.
I think so, too,
Actually, Salt Lake has been good defensively recently in Leagues Cup. They had a few shutouts the same way Dallas did. So I could see this being a 1-0, a 1-1, maybe 2-1 at most tonight. But predicting MLS is a fool's errand, so I think either of us could end up on the right side of this. I kind of like where the Dallas defense is at more in comparison, but when you look at Salt Lake getting DeAndre Yedlin back, he was off last game with the yellow card accumulation suspension, so he's got fresh legs on the right side. Juanma Sanabria is a bona fide World Cup starting left wing back. He played for Uruguay for all 3 of their games. He's been a really good addition for them. There are some questions, I think, in the back 3. Arias is a new player. Quentin, I think I've never really rated Quentin. He's a threat on set pieces. He's tall, but he always seems to get dragged out and caught out into difficult situations with his height. And then Lucas Engel, solid player, nothing special. I rate Dallas's back 3 higher. Maybe the wing backs, RSL has a slight edge.
Yeah, Diego Luna, though, everything runs through him. He finds the half spaces. You heard Eric will talk about it. He could receive on the half turn. He drives the center backs. He combines around the box. He can create or finish for himself. He's difficult to knock off the ball, so I love that guy. I wish we would have seen him in the World Cup for the United States.
Well, we also know he can be easily frustrated. If we recall what happened when he was down here in Frisco when he threw the captain's armband at what it ended up being the 4th official,
Weird.
And somehow did not get carded or suspended or anything for it. He dodged danger. He's got a little Diego Char in him for that. That was impressive. And, before we get to our keys, Steve, one thing to keep in mind is Pablo Mastroeni is in his 5th year in the job at RSL, one of the most tenured managers in Major League Soccer, we found out before this match. I believe it's only 2 managers that are above him. But one of the things you can always guarantee, it's going to be a very physical game. Pablo Mastroeni teams, they're not afraid to drag this into a bit of a street fight. And that is a little worrying for Dallas considering how many games they've stacked on these legs. This is not going to be an easy game regardless of outcome.
Yeah, just a little question there. 6th year, 5th full year for Pablo Mastroeni there in the mountains. The funny thing is, Sam, I don't think they're as physical as they used to be.
I don't think so either.
I think now they're a different team. They are interested a little bit more in attacking. And I think if you look at it, I'd have to check to be sure, but I'm pretty sure Dallas has more fouls than RSL this year. I think right now, teams are starting to look at Dallas as, hey, that team is the one that you get kicked a lot and you're in a dogfight the whole way. Whereas it used to be maybe a couple of different teams, including RSL and or Colorado under Mastroeni. Now I think it's more Dallas.
I think if we take out the fouls that Herman Johansson has been unfairly called for, I think we can shrink that number down to a more reasonable number. But I'm not here to criticize the officials. They have a much harder job than I do for sure. But speaking of a difficult job, let's get to tonight's keys to the match. They're presented by Toyota. And for those, we go right back to Steve Davis.
Thank you, Sam. Number one is Dallas has to deny that first pass. After Dallas loses possession, can they get pressure on that first RSL pass? Because that pass is important to the way Mastroeni's teams want to play. With so much focus on being vertical. If RSL can immediately find those forward options, they're playing the game they want to play. Number two is sort of related. We just talked about him keeping Diego Luna quiet, or at least quiet-ish. He will drop deep a lot if he thinks his team needs it to help maintain possession and get out, and that's okay. You can give him the ball there, especially if he's receiving the ball with his back to the goal. That's manageable. But Luna receiving in the attacking half, between the lines, facing forward, running at the Dallas back line, that's a problem. Dallas has to prevent it. You heard Quill talking about that. Number three is Dallas getting behind the wingbacks for RSL, because RSL wants to defend with sort of five centrally, and then they get their wingbacks up high, and they can be a little exposed at times, especially on Sanabria's side. So that's Dallas's attacking right side. Minnesota got into that space a couple of times over the weekend, and then they make the center backs get out wide to defend. So maybe Dallas can supply some early diagonals into that space and give them some trouble, and those are your keys presented by Toyota.
Thank you, Steve Davis. FC Dallas looking for the season sweep on RSL after beating them in Frisco in May. They will try to do it up at America First Field tonight. That's going to do it for the pregame show. We will take a break. When we come back, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for the second half action from Sandy, Utah. It's RSL. It's FC Dallas. It's a Western Conference six-pointer here in late August. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now. We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire, because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games, plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our two-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
God, I'm saying wow.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care.
The treatments are over, the infusions are done. Now you can get back to all the kid fun. We'll miss you lots, but you'll be happy to know chemo is over, so it's time to go.
At Children's Health, we're making groundbreaking advancements in cancer treatments every day to bring more healing and more hope to families. Innovative treatments filled with hope. That's incredible together. Learn more at childrens.com.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
The end of a 12-game stretch away from Frisco is in sight, with 3 games remaining, including tonight, as Dallas is on the road in the Wasatch Mountains at Sandy, Utah's America First Stadium to take on Real Salt Lake. FC Dallas victorious against Pablo Mastroeni's side 3-1 earlier on this season, and they look to complete the season sweep over their Western Conference rivals tonight. Thank you for joining us here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. My name is Ryan Figert. Alongside me in the booth tonight, Steve Davis. And Steve, we talked about it on the pregame show, but it's a very strong starting 11 for Dallas, perhaps their strongest starting 11, putting a lot of priority on winning against a rival who may be in and around the same spots in the Western Conference when things are all said and done.
We know how good We know how good. Well, we know how good the team is on the road, Ryan. Sorry about the technical difficulties there. the team right now is averaging 1.75 points on the road. I mean, that's a pretty good home stretch. So right now, why not keep going for it on the road, just like they did the other day in Austin?
Similar to Austin, Real Salt Lake, despite some struggles in MLS play recently, did advance in Leagues Cup. They have their eyes on a quarterfinal date with León on August 25th, but they also have gone with a very strong starting 11 tonight, all built around a nice tandem, Sergio Solans, the rookie striker, and the USMNT midfielder Diego Luna in the attack.
Yeah, and I like Gilavogi on the other side as well. I think Stein Spearings is a good he's not an attacker, but he's the guy that sort of glues the whole team together. They are missing some defenders tonight, but it's still a really good team at home, as we talked about over the course of the season, plus 20 goal difference there at the place they used to call the Riot. So still a good team, and still a team that's going to give Dallas everything they can handle tonight.
So far on this road trip, in all competitions, 5 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses. And while that's nothing new under Eric Quill, that is a fantastic record for what was always going to be a defining stretch of the season.
I think they have to be pretty happy. Obviously, they weren't really pleased with what happened at San Diego, but even that was only a 1-0 loss. So I don't think you could have asked much more out of the stretch so far.
The teams are out into formation. We're just about ready to kick things off from America First Field. Our referee tonight, Armando Villarreal, and a neon yellow top with black shorts. The Dallas team in their light gray with red accents will move from right to left in the first half as it's RSL in the red and blue hoops and a very similar kit to the Dallas home shirt, just with some nice yellow accents along the sleeves and numbers. It'll be Santi Moreno to drop it back all the way to Sirois, and we are underway in Salt Lake City. Sirois launches it out towards the Dallas right, targeting Johansson, who flicks it forward beyond Musa, who is putting the RSL backline under pressure, forces them into a giveaway as Kayik wins it back just into the RSL half, and they'll cycle it along the back line across to Nolan Norris, who's in his return to the lineup after a game out with yellow card suspension.
See Diego Luna playing on the right side right now. He usually prefers the other side. I think he'll pop up in different places.
Norris with the ball forward, targeting Musa, unable to corral that one, and RSL come away with possession, and Dallas quickly commits a foul just shy of the halfway line. Taken quickly by Salt Lake and moved into the center circle for Noel Caliscan. Plays over towards the left side for Lucas Engel, the left of the back three. Combining in tight quarters on the far side. Now Caliscan bursting up the left side for RSL. Fires it towards the near post and into the outside of the net. Didn't really trouble Sirois in the end, but it was a nice burst forward there for the RSL midfielder.
Yeah, it's a nice burst forward, but my heavens, I don't know. Somebody missed an assignment in there. Couldn't tell whether it was Ramiro or Kaike that didn't get over quickly enough, and Caliscan just sort of ghosted into a big space along that left center channel. Players for FC Dallas looking around at each other, having a conversation early. You got to close that up.
Sirois takes the goal kick again up towards Johansson. Again, he flicks the header on, but can't find a teammate that time. And another quick combination in the RSL attack as they move forward. Just 2 back for Dallas. Shackmore able to repel it for the moment, but now Yedlin makes his way forward along the near side. Cut back ball into the middle, finds Solans outside the top of the box. It's cleared away by Nolan Norris. Some nice combination play in the early moments here for Salt Lake.
But that's what they want to do. They want to go vertical very quickly, and that time they really caught Dallas a little short.
Ramiro cycles it across along the ground over to Shackmore deep in the Dallas half, and now Uragide in the middle will swing it back across to Norris. Playing it forward to Santi Moreno, left center channel. Dropped off for Ramiro, who's looking to go forward here, and he'll hit the switching ball out towards Valiente. Header one at the halfway line, ahead for Johansson. Holds the defender on his back as he makes his way wide. Plays it ahead to Valiente to the byline. 2 waiting in the middle. Nice slip ball into the area for Kaike. His cross is blocked, and it's spinning out towards the corner flag. And it will be a Dallas corner here, just 2.5 minutes into the game.
By the way, RSL plays 5 in the back, sort of like Dallas does. They defend a little differently. They defend out of a more something that looks like a 5-2-3, whereas Dallas defends with a 5-4-1.
Valiente goes quickly with the corner, combining short with Moreno near the flag on the far side. Set back for Valiente, changing the angle here. Now a bending ball in off the left foot towards the back post is over the head of Peter Musa and behind for a goal kick.
Musa complaining about something back there at the back post, but I thought he was free maybe to try to put that ball back across.
RSL building up here with Cabral. 10 yards out off his line, moving it over to the left side for Engel, who hammers it forward. And the run of Luna. Shackmore has the inside line. He'll get there first, drop it off for Sirois. Calmly plays out of the pressure from the one-man press of RSL.
Dallas pressing a little bit there. RSL, I noticed some defensive vulnerabilities. It's mostly that they've been a little leaky in giving up the ball back there sometimes.
Now Kamungo making his way forward on the dribble and into the attacking third. Now wide to the 18. Cut back ball through the area towards the top of the box. Nobody home there in a Dallas shirt, and RSL able to repel it for the moment. Ramiro's got it just outside the center circle, playing forward to find Valiente over to Musa. Musa's ball back towards Valiente is blocked and cleared away.
It's a really nice turn there by Valiente to get into the penalty area.
It's been an energetic start for both teams. So he swung end to end with just over 4 minutes played so far. Ramiro on the right center channel, playing with Moreno on that side, making his way forward, pass forward towards Musa, who now is fighting to win the second ball back. It's RSL dropping it off for Cabral to send it clear.
Talked on the build-up yesterday about how Musa said after the match on Sunday in Austin that he didn't feel like he had a very good game, and I think he just looked exhausted to me. But when you cannot have a great game and still banging the game winner, that's pretty good. Says a lot.
Norris working with Kamungo just into the RSL half. Kamungo dispossessed by Gilavogi, whose ball into the middle for Solans is swept away by Ramiro,
who immediately gets up and gives Bernie Kamungo a little, come on, man.
There's a pass through the middle for Kaique off the mark, splitting two Dallas players and turning it over to RSL. It was a feature of that performance on the road in Austin that Dallas found a lot more joy playing through the middle of the field, and that's been the attempt a few times now as we played 5 minutes in Sandy, Utah, but it hasn't quite come off to the same effect. As Arias, the central center back for RSL, now plays forward into the left center channel of their attack. Coming infield, it's Sanabria. Set wide to the far sideline, and the low cross sent in. It's cleared away by Uragide. Possession retained by RSL with Spearings. Moving it again wide to Sanabria on the left sideline, and now they'll swing it back through the back line once again.
Dallas dropping pretty low here on defense. That's what Minnesota did the other day and frustrated RSL, I felt like.
At the halfway line with the Colombian, Arias, playing forward to Spearings. Another one in his first year with RSL as they continue to try and work it forward on that far sideline. It's out of play. Last touch off the home side. Caliscan dispossessed, so it'll be a Dallas throw. Pablo Mastroeni, now one of the longest tenured head coaches into his 6th season in total with RSL. Former men's national team and MLS legend. As Johansson makes his way infield on the dribble, advances up to the halfway line, and now switches it over for Norris, who finds the short pass ahead to Santi Moreno. Now all the way wide on the left with Kamungo, who checks it back once again for the number 10. Combining with Ramiro, quick 1-2 in the left center channel. Here's Moreno, drop with the shoulder, nice hesitation. The slip pass through towards Musa is off the mark. And RSL able to clear their lines, but it'll be easily retained by Dallas as Uragide gets it back in the Dallas half.
And nice job by Moreno beating the first guy, which is what he does a lot. And then he just, as we talked about, he just doesn't quite have it on the same page with Musa just yet.
Norris lifting it forward in Musa's direction, but it bounces kindly for Bernard Kamungo. Nice feet to get past Quinton, but Spearings with the help there wins it back for RSL. And then a foul was committed by Ramiro. Referee, though, plays advantage as Dallas wins it back on the opposite side. Valiente got a piece of the ball, but only held it for a moment. As it's possession along the back line for the home side with Arias, left side of their 18-yard box.
Now Dallas coming out with a lot of energy. Sometimes maybe a little too much. Look a little, quick on the ball, and maybe they just need a little bit more calm on the ball right now.
Arias, middle of the RSL half, surveying his options. Spent the first half of the season here on loan. They made that an official purchase recently. They're happy with what he's given them so far. The ball runs out of play along this near sideline intended for DeAndre Yedlin. It'll be a Dallas throw. Bernard Kamungo from right near Eric Quill is out off the bench in his technical area. Takes the throw, fires it into midfield. Valiente able to control it after a heavy first touch and gets it wide out to Johansson. Chests it down on the far sideline, moving backwards. Combining with Kaike. Now moving it along the back line and all the way back to Sirois. Out the other side for Nolan Norris as Eric Quill applauds the building out from the back here from his team. Moreno wide to the near sideline, just behind Kamungo, who's now battling with Yedlin. That time it's RSL who comes away with it, and that good work in the defensive third goes to waste there.
I don't really think we talked about the guy with the ball right now, Rafa Cabral. I think he's been so good for RSL. Made a little mistake the other day against Minnesota maybe, but so good with his feet.
Here you go, Luna. Receives it just shy of the halfway line on the near side. So in the 10th minute here, RSL attacking from left to right in this first half. Switching it along the back line. And now back into the middle with Arias. Still no Justin Glad. It's been a long-term absentee this season. It's a ball forward towards Sergi Solans, who dispossessed by Uriguide. Glad has been such a mainstay for this RSL team for years now. And they have missed him along the back line. Good work from Sirois, finding Uriguide under some light pressure. And now Dallas makes their way up the near side with Nolan Norris.
Yeah, they miss his defending, of course, but they also miss his passing out of the back. Missed Yedlin the other day and his work out of the back. That's why I say they are a little vulnerable right now to giving up the ball to the press.
Norris, nice work against Quinton along the near side. Finds the ball into Musa. His pass is broken up, but it breaks back Dallas's way. Kaike in the middle of the RSL half. Combining now with Ramiro with the ball at his feet. Fires it forward for Valiente. Set back for the Pitbull, who will switch it across again to Norris. Up the near sideline for Bernie Kamungo. Infield to Moreno. Lifts it forward towards Musa, and that's been the missing link so far for Dallas through 10 minutes. They just haven't got Musa involved just yet. Here's Moreno now pulling the trigger from way out, and that one's up and over the bar.
You don't see that a lot from Santi Moreno, shooting from distance. That time he's at 30 yards, and he does catch a lot of it, just catches it too high.
That final ball towards Musa has just been off the mark for everybody so far, so Moreno decided he was just going to try and pull the trigger there. Spearings makes his way forward through the RSL half and lifts it out towards their left side. Sanabria brings it up, down off the chest on the far sideline. Now playing through Gilavogi, slip ball in behind. Uriguide up against Solans. It's a car crash inside the top of the D in the Dallas box, still not clear. Now Osaze got a piece of it, breaks back Steering's way. He gets it out wide to Sanabria. Ball to the byline looking for Gilavogi, and it'll be a corner or a goal kick. It'll be a goal kick as it ran out over the line. Solans obviously locking horns with Uriguide right through the middle of that Dallas back line, and he's given as good as he's gotten so far. It's going to be a battle to watch tonight.
Yeah, right now, though, that left center channel looking a little vulnerable right there between Osaze and Shaquille.
Ramiro at the top of the Dallas box, moves it back for Uriguide, and now wide to Norris, who makes his way up the near sideline, combining infield with Moreno. Just got to move backwards here and sets it back for Osaze. Now Kaike will walk it forward as Dallas breaks that initial press. Kaike still standing on it with time and space in his own half. Over to the right for Moore. Played ahead for Johansson. For the infield pass towards Moreno. Couldn't connect. And RSL come away with it. Move it back to Arias along their back line. Now Luna in the center circle. Lifts it forward, but Kaike comes away with it. Now he brings it forward on the dribble and slips it ahead towards Musa. Musa holding off Quinton, approaching the top of the box. Along the right side, Petter Musa cuts back. Angle against him here as he pokes it back towards the top of the box and goes down. Not enough for a free kick, and RSL come the other way.
Nice job there of just retaining possession under pressure. He just didn't have enough help up there.
Arguide nods it out wide where RSL retained possession with Gilavogi into the middle for Spearings, the Dutch midfielder, over from Brøndby in the offseason, shares ownership with Real Salt Lake. As the ball slipped in behind, looking for Salons, but runs over the line for a goal kick for Sirois.
Yeah, they definitely identified something there, Ryan, because, again, it's that same run right through the left center channel that they keep targeting, RSL does.
Well, these two teams met in Portugal, of all places, back in preseason before they met on May 9th in Frisco in a game that counted. Dallas winning both of those, as both were participants in the preseason tournament, the Atlantic Cup in Portugal, along with Brøndby, actually. Played forward to Kaique, who turns and tries to find Moreno. His pass just off the mark, but fortunately breaks back the way of Osaze Arguide. Ramiro wide here on this near sideline, walks it forward up to the halfway. Now plays it ahead to Musa, who can receive it here with time to turn. Plays it to the right for Valiente in the right center channel. Cutting onto his favored left foot, scoops it over towards Musa, but it's over his head. This time there's a thumbs up towards Valiente, but the result was the same. It runs out for a goal kick.
Yeah, Musa's kept his positioning pretty high so far tonight, but that time he dropped well into the midfield to receive the ball, and I think it dislodged a little bit back for RSL's defense and sort of shook something loose there. Might see a little bit more of that.
Cabral walking it forward after the goal kick up to the top of the 18 in the RSL end, and now playing it out along the far sideline. Shackmore dueling there, trying to win it back. It's actually Osaze who stepped out in the middle of the back three there to challenge on the far sideline. Commits the foul. Spared a suspension for now after a little bit of an administrative error. We thought he was going to be suspended tonight. He's now just one yellow card away from that accumulation suspension. RSL firing it forward to the feet of Salons. Heavy touch, but it worked out as they keep possession. Gilavogi making his way towards the near side. Nice work from Bernard Kamungo, comes away with it, and now Moreno is going to hit the ball on the diagonal in the air, out to Valiente. Valiente arriving inside the area, waiting for support, cuts it back for Johansson, who sets it infield for Kaique. Right center channel, fired forward to the feet of Musa inside the D, now back for Moreno, combining with Ramiro here in the left center channel. Infield for Musa, looking for the 1-2. Ramiro trying to find that extra pass. Breaks back for Valiente, who scores! It's Joaquin Valiente on the score sheet first tonight. His first goal in MLS after getting on the score sheet in Leagues Cup play recently, and that one just broke for him perfectly at the top of the box. He strokes it home with the left foot as Cabral dove to his right but got nowhere near it.
Well, that's something you don't see FC Dallas doing a whole lot, is combining right at the top of the penalty area. It's at Musa, Marino, Ramiro getting in there. But that little combination, it's sort of, it unlocks RSL to get to scrambling a little bit, and then when the ball pops out, nobody is on Valiente, who just swings his left foot at about 19 yards and puts it right past Cabral. By the way, it was a really nice pass from Santi Marino into Valiente over on the right side that started that whole sequence. So really good all-around team goal from FC Dallas.
Well, we talked about in the pregame show, the reason not to rotate and to allow the chemistry to build up in the attacking group. And while the final pass to Musa has been difficult to unlock so far tonight, we're starting to see signs of that chemistry in the attack between all three of them. That includes now the goal scorer, Valiente.
Yeah, and Musa, in that time, when he receives the ball on the half turn at the top of the penalty area, he's usually looking to beat the defender or to go ahead and immediately shoot. And that time what I saw was he's trusting Marino more. He just plays the ball right back to Marino, and then they get that little Ramiro, Marino, Musa combination going, and it almost comes off. But when it doesn't, again, there's a little bit of a bad clearance, and the ball goes right to Valiente. So that little combining right there, Dallas is just so vertical. We don't see a lot of it, but that was nice.
It runs through for a goal kick for Jonathan Sirois. Dallas now with the early lead, and they've been excellent when they've taken the lead so far this season. 9 wins, 1 loss, 3 draws when scoring first in all competitions. Contested ball near the halfway line out on the Dallas right. Eventually RSL come away with it and they work it back to Cabral.
Valiente, we talk about his pressing and how valuable it is, but he's starting to fill up the box score a little bit now. 2 goals, 6 assists in all competitions.
Cabral scoops it out to the near sideline and immediately under pressure, Quinton poked away by Kamungo. Dallas now working it on this left center channel. Back for Kaique. Who's going to have to duel with Solans at the halfway line. He turns well, and referee plays advantage as he was fouled by the Spanish striker. Stays with Santi Moreno. Now Ramiro in left center channel just into the RSL half. Plays it in behind, looking for the run at Kamungo. Kamungo fires it across just out of the reach of Musa. It'll be contested on the far side and out for a Dallas throw further away from goal. They take that throw quickly back to the halfway line.
I mentioned the last game how Bernie Kamungo's next step is just to improve the crossing a little bit. I didn't see much wrong with that one, Ryan. It was he was just maybe a half a step in front of Petra Musa, but I thought it was a good ball.
Valiente, nice slip ball through the midfield to find Kaique. Now looking for options. Kaique towards the top of the D, over to Santi Moreno. Out wide now on the near side for Kamungo, just outside the area. Couple of step overs, getting to his left, now cuts back, and Valiente bends the ball towards the back post, and Musa picks out the top corner as he rises highest for number 15 on the year.
As big as Petra Musa is, he doesn't score a lot of goals like that with his head, but look at that big smile. He knows he's just scored an important goal for FC Dallas with his head, back post, on a nice swinging ball in from the left side. Nice goal. Petra Musa on that record chase.
And it was a full build-up from the halfway line forward all the way out to Kamungo, who sets it back. Valiente, perfect ball to the back post, gave Musa the chance to go and dunk on Engel. And he did so, picking out the top corner with a powerful header. Goal and an assist for Valiente. And a 2-goal lead for Dallas early in this game. And you have to say, after maybe some lack of that final third chemistry in the opening 5-10 minutes, it has absolutely clicked into gear over the last 10.
Yeah, I mentioned a while ago, Petra Musa just staying a little closer to goal, you know. That's where the first goal came from, as he gets fed a ball to sort of start that final third sequence, and that time is staying close to goal at the back post. And Valiente knows where to find him back there. Valiente now with the goal and an assist tonight.
And it's also notable because that's only the second goal that RSL have conceded from an open play cross all season long. That's not really a route to goals against this Pablo Mastroeni side. But Dallas just pulling the defense apart and taking advantage of a size mismatch there at the back post. And now it's RSL in search of answers. And they're building up near the top of the Dallas box. It'll be Bernie Kamungo, though, to send it clear up towards halfway. A 2-goal lead this early in a game on the road is rare to come by, particularly against a team that's a contender in the Western Conference as well, like RSL. And make their way forward, now looking to respond, but Urquide just using his strength there to hold off Sanabria and let it run through for Sirois. Sirois will fire it out to the right side, where Johansson's making his way forward. Quick 1-2 with Musa. Now Herman Johansson's all alone with 2 to his left. Dallas could add on here. It's slipped across for Petra Musa. Big save. Cabral bounces back Musa's way, but it's cleared away. Maybe just not enough on the cross there, and Cabral able to spare the blushes of the back line because they were nowhere to be seen as Dallas nearly hit on the break.
Yeah, I mentioned, you could get behind RSL. Those wingbacks get up high, and especially now with RSL pushing for that, now pushing to try to erase a 2-goal deficit. And you're right. I think, we saw it a couple of weeks ago with Petra Musa and Herman Johansson. Johansson didn't quite get the ball across the way he wanted it to into Musa in that game down in Mansfield. That time, I think he was a little too careful and put the ball in the right spot. But you're right, maybe just a little slow on the delivery.
It's all Dallas right now as we're just about a quarter of the way through the 90 minutes. Nolan Norris in possession just shy of the halfway line. Is going to lift it forward, looking for Kamungo. And we talked a little bit about Quinton as the wide center back on the near side. And maybe that's just not a good matchup for RSL, particularly against Bernard Kamungo, and that has certainly proven the case, as Kaike has a nice moment in the midfield, winning it back quickly, and Ramiro smuggles it wide to this near side for Kamungo, who will run at Quinton. And he's got 3 to his right as he approaches the top of the box. Slip back from Moreno, looking for the pass for Musa, but it's Kaliskin on the recovery to slide and cut it out. And now going the other way, Uragide and Norris just muscling Salons away from the ball, and Dallas continue to just snuff everything out RSL's put up.
Yeah, and again, Bernie Kamungo getting in early on that wing, and Bernie Kamungo running against one of the center backs, in that case Quinton. It's not good for RSL. Dallas really taking advantage of a back line right now that's missing Justin Glad a lot.
Kaike maybe got away with one there against Spearings. Now he turns upfield. Hooked ball in behind. Musa holding the defender on his back. Musa approaching the top of the box. Goes down inside the area. And the referee not interested as RSL clear it out of play for a Dallas throw.
Well, he definitely got pulled down, but I'm not sure Petar Musa wasn't giving as much as he was getting.
Well, that's about face of the week for Petar Musa right there. He looked perplexed towards the referee. It was a ball that maybe if it had a couple of extra yards in front of him, he could have just continued to run on because he'd done so well to pin Arias on his back and turn him.
As I look at it again, I think he's got position there on Arias, and Arias is all over him. You can't punish the guy for being big and strong.
Oh, you can, and often it seems like that is the case when you ask Petar Musa or Herman Johansson. Out for another Dallas throw. Just out of earshot of Pablo Mastroeni, who can't be happy with this opening 25 minutes from his side. Now Kamungo darting infield into the left center channel and into the box to the byline. Kamungo cutback ball into the 6 is cleared, and it looks like it ran out of play just before Kamungo's cross, so it will be a goal kick.
Bernie's having a lot of fun over there tonight, isn't he? He's giving the defenders back over there all kinds of fits, and it's really more against Quinton than DeAndre Yedlin. I'm not sure where Yedlin is in all this.
Kamungo's out of the play for the moment as he makes his way slowly back in. Moreno is covering in his position. RSL make their way into the Dallas half on this near side. Kaliskin from just outside the center circle. To the RSL left where Luna will look to get involved. Hasn't had many touches in this first half.
I was just about to say, you just haven't said Diego Luna's name very much tonight.
Over to that left center channel again for Gilavogi. Nice 1-2 with Salons to the top of the box. Gilavogi turning back out wide to the left side for Sanabria. Sanabria making his way away from goal. Sets it back and wide once again. It's a hooked cross in towards the back post. Yedlin challenging with Kamungo. Dallas working it clear from the top of their own box. Valiente stabbing it forward, but no one there in particular. Turns over to Quinton. To the left side, Lucas Engel making his way forward from the back line. 1-2 with Gilavogi. And now here's Diego Luna in the pocket of space just outside the Dallas 18. Wide to Gilavogi, who cuts onto his favored right foot. Looking for a lane forward up against a couple of Dallas defenders. Luna there for company as well. Hooks a ball in. Sirois comes out off the line and makes the catch. As Kamungo hit the deck at the back post with a shove in the back from DeAndre Yedlin.
Sirois again, he just really looks confident right now and in command of that 6. He was really quick off his line there. It wasn't like it was a floated ball. He had to get out there quick. It was a ball hit pretty well, but he had to get out and reach for it.
Shackmore playing forward on the Dallas right. Valiente ahead to Musa. Pass finds Kaike. Return to Musa. Is going to try and hit a switching ball on the half volley, and it spins behind for Cabral to come and claim.
I think he expected Bernie Kamungo to be out on the run on that one.
I think Kamungo's still catching his breath from the last sprint forward. And the shove to the ground at the other end. Nice tackle from Shackmore. Gets it away from Solans. RSL lifting it back out to the far sideline for Gilavogi. Gilavogi coming infield onto his favored right foot. It's going to roll it along the ground to Quinton. Works in the wide areas here with Yedlin on the near side. Spearings back to Gilavogi in a central area now, keeping the ball away from Ramiro and playing it wide again for Yedlin. Over 80 caps for the USA. DeAndre Yedlin, including a couple of World Cups. With his 4th MLS team. Moving through the middle third, here's Luna, and back to Luna from Salons. Good tackle from Urugide, kept it away from Diego Luna. Maybe even a great tackle from Osaze there.
I mean, he just got his positioning so good, so right, because Diego Luna had combined there, a little 1-2, and looked like he was about to get on the back end of that 1-2, and Urugide just had to get his body positioning just so, and he certainly did.
Serwa lifts a punt up towards the halfway line. Contested header there. Second ball contested as well. Still nobody with clear possession. Eventually, Kaike plays it back to Serwa, who picks it up. RSL's not too happy about that. The referee taking a lenient view of things there. Dallas make their way up this near side. Ramiro wide for Kamungo and into the RSL half. Cut back for Santi at the halfway line. Switch the play across to Shaq Moore. Wide with Herman Johansson. Making his way infield on the dribble and rolls it back for Osaze. So into the 30th minute now at Sandy. And it's been fantastic for the most part for Dallas. 2-goal lead with Valiente and Musa on the score sheet. RSL still looking for a response. Here's Luna now running right at the back line. Over to his right for Gilavogi and all the way wide for Yedlin. Just outside the area. Couple of step overs. Dallas getting 2 to the ball. He plays it back for Spearings. Hooks across in towards the back post. Johansson nods it back across and out for a throw on this near sideline.
Well, it took 30 minutes for Luna to find it, but that's exactly the ball that he wants and that Dallas has to start denying. Can't let him in between the two lines there and running at the back line.
Yedlin sets up what looks like a long throw in here near the corner flag on the near side. Fired in towards Quinton at the near post. Quinton takes it down and now puts the cross through the 6-yard box. It's bouncing at the back post. Shaq Moore gets there first. Up against Solans near the corner flag. Finds Kaike, and Dallas will look to play out here from the top of their own box. Valiente back for Kaike inside the area. Pass out towards Valiente's cutout, and now it's Gilavogi 1-2. Back to Solans. Solans shot saved by Sirois, who will cover it up. As Dallas got the risk-reward calculation wrong there.
No, Kaike specifically got it wrong.
Sirois over to Norris, who will send it long up towards Musa. Header straight up in the air. And RES plays it downfield. Moreno can't pick out a teammate with a first-time pass, and it's RSL in possession once again. Over to Diego Luna. Gets on the turn, now faces forward. Fires the ball ahead to Kaliska and over to the right for Gilavogi. Shot blocked by Santi Moreno. Finds Yedlin, who fires it through the 6, and Johansson will concede a corner, defending the back post.
Dallas has the lead, but now RSL has the momentum, but they've got the initiative for the moment. Just made Jonathan Sirois make his first save of the half. It was a good one. Close range.
Corner kick coming from the far flag. It will be Diego Luna to take. 6 players inside the 18 for RSL, 2 waiting at the top of the box. They'll go short. Sanabria and Luna combining as he makes his way to the corner of the 18 on the far side. Low cross is deflected. Bounces back RSL's way. And they're wide now on the near side. Engel onto his left foot. Fires it in with pace. It flicks off the foot of Petter Musa. Up and behind for another corner.
And I don't know about you, but 30 minutes in now. By the way, it's 91 there. It's not Dallas hot, but it's hot. Dallas starting to look a little weary. I don't know what you think.
Well, that was a concern with the lack of rotation from the quick turnaround. Not just a usual Saturday, Wednesday, but a Sunday, Wednesday turnaround. And in the midst of an 8-game month of August. The continuation in the chemistry paid off with the 2-goal lead. Now they've got to find the ability to dig deep and get it to half as Luna whips in the cross, and it's right into the top of the 6-yard box, headed away. Gilavogi should have done better, perhaps. It breaks wide for Engel, who fires it into the 6, and it's saved by Sirois. It was a weird one. The corner looked really dangerous there from Luna.
I thought so too.
Taking a look at the replay, Luna put it right into the 6, dipping down in a good spot, and Shackmore stooping low is the one to head it clear. Ultimately uncontested, and for RSL, I mean, you can't ask for better service there. To not have a runner to take advantage is a real waste. Johansson giving it away, and now RSL come forward through that left center channel into Gilavogi, top of the D, sets it back for Kaliskin, over for Luna again, just outside the box. Couple of step overs, shifting it onto his right foot. Rolls it across to Quinton. Quinton from 20 yards. Plays it wide for Yedlin, outside the 18 on the near side. Backwards now for RES. Everybody pinned back defensively for Dallas. Marcel exchanging short passes about 30 yards from goal. Kaliskin now over to the left for Engel. Engel flights across through and up and over everybody's head, behind for a goal kick, and that'll give Dallas a chance to take a breath here.
And Sirwa doing the thing where he walks out and starts to have a conversation with his defenders, which is really not really having a conversation. It's really just sort of delaying the goal kick a little bit more. And Armando Villarreal already giving Sirwa an earful about that. So I didn't feel like Sirwa did a very good job the other day of sort of taking his time but not antagonizing the referee and not being loud about it, and sort of an art he's going to have to learn.
Sirwa launches it long, well beyond the halfway line, up towards Musa. Second ball controlled by Valiente. 1-2 with Johansson. Valiente sprints in along the right side, but he's got to cut back and wait for the support. Set back into the middle for Ramiro. Ramiro slip pass from Moreno on the 1-2. Moreno making his way forward. Now it's Musa with the left foot up and over the bar. Very similar to the first Dallas goal, where a combination play breaks down, but breaks down right at the foot of a forward in the Dallas shirt. Unfortunately, that time Musa, looking for his brace, blazed it over.
I mean, again, and Dallas doesn't do a lot of that, but they're doing it tonight, and I would have put $5 on Petar Musa to score that one.
He had that much faith. Five
big
clams.
ones, buddy. $5 US.
All the way through for Sirwa, and over to Nolan Norris. 10 minutes plus stoppage time from the halftime break, and all the scoring coming in the opening 20. Dallas leading 2-0 on the road tonight at Salt Lake. Holding the midfield for Kaike. Hounded back by Kaliskin, who will return it to Sirwa. Sirwa flights it forward, up towards the halfway line. Still contested. It breaks kindly from Moreno. Looking for the 1-2 with Musa. Spearings gets in the way, and then he's fouled there by Petar Musa. Kaliskin in the center circle, and now back. RSL will move it into their own half. Spearings playing it forward for Luna, who leaves it. Gilavogi plays it wide for Sanabria. 3 waiting in the middle. Sanabria cuts it back into the inside channel for Gilavogi. And now Diego Luna. Scored against Dallas in that 3-1 defeat back in May. He's got 3 goals against the Hoops in his career. Just over 300 minutes. Over to Quinton. Quinton lifts it into the area looking for Solon. Solon's holding off Uragide. Sets it back for Yedlin. Cutback ball to the top of the box. It's Kaliskin. It's saved by Sirwa. And that's a big save, diving to his right. And he covers up the rebound as well.
Yeah, it wasn't the best shot from Kaliskin. I mean, DeAndre Yedlin picks him out beautifully, and in the end, I think he kind of scuffs it.
And it's going to be a free kick for RSL in the immediate aftermath. We'll have to wait for a replay to see what happened there. Nolan Norris picks up the game's first yellow card for a foul wide of the 18-yard box on the near side. It was thrown to Norris by Sirwa. Heavy touch, and Yedlin was immediately onto him, and he did take down the longtime U.S. international. That sets up a free kick, and will be taken by Diego Luna.
All right, just critical here that Dallas finds a way to keep the momentum here, or at least keep the momentum on the score sheet. They've lost momentum on the field, but if they can ride out this next 8 minutes.
It'll be Luna with just the one-man wall from wide on the right side. Whipped into the near post, flicked along and into the top corner. Not sure how much they knew about that one, but it's Solons who will claim it And RSL get themselves back in the game at 2-1.
And ultimately, that's going to go down to Dallas not getting out of the back cleanly there. And you're right, that's a ball that maybe Dallas, it wasn't really a good service from Diego Luna. Maybe Dallas could have dealt with it a little bit better. Ka'aike missing an attempted clearance. He's under pressure there. And then Solange just really takes an opportunistic swing at it at about 8 yards. And in the end, it's
shinned it into the upper 90. That's the type of form that he's been in.
Yeah, he scored a goal from a difficult angle the other day. So you're right. He's just the guy right now that he's just hitting everything that comes his way, and a lot of them are going in.
Still holding the restart here, probably examining the offside line closely. Solans came into this one 4 goals in 5 in all competitions, now 5 goals in 6 if this one stands.
I don't know what they might be looking at. He was onside, and unless it took a little deflection from somebody else.
It's an extended hold here for Daniel Radford, the video assistant referee, to take a look. Ramiro, the Dallas captain's getting the inside information from Armando Villarreal.
If nothing else, it's allowing Dallas just to catch their breath a little bit.
Now maybe another look at the replay to see what they're looking at. Still not really sure. Maybe
Did it come off somebody's hand?
Oh, the goal's been given after an extended delay. It's 2-1 Dallas now. Ka'aike lifting it out towards the right side. Second ball breaks towards RSL, but Ka'aike wins it back himself. Ball forward towards Musa, intercepted by Engel, and quickly into the center circle for Luna. Wide RSL in possession with Gilavogi on the far sideline. Infield for Diego Luna, just outside the top of the box. Makes his way in on the dribble. Now a slipped ball through towards the back post. And Yedlin heads it down, and it bounces up and over the bar. As Dallas threatening to give away the 2-goal lead before the halftime break here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Bernie Kamungo back there or Nolan Norris. It's loses his man, but, I mean, DeAndre Yedlin just... He's going to want that one back because he is wide open at 6 yards. And I'm just going to tell you again that Serwa has got another talking to from Armando Villarreal. And the thing is, Villarreal is going to add all this on, so Serwa just needs to get on with it a little quicker.
Launches it up towards Johansson, bounces, and Johansson sends it up into the air. Musa battling on the far sideline. Breaks for Valiente, twinkle toes up the sideline, gets it inside for Moreno, who's dispossessed. RSL work it back to the goalkeeper. Dallas stepping the pressure up here. Kaliskin drops in deep to receive it, and now he can make his way forward for RSL. Pass forward through the midfield, out of the reach of Ramiro. Now Gilavogi puts the ball in behind for Solans. Big sliding tackle from Nolan Norris to take it away. And then Ramiro plays it straight out for an RSL throw, as I think we've seen this Dallas team hit the physical wall after such a bright start. Maybe that lack of rotation coming back to hurt them here in the second part of the second half.
They can just find a way to take a lead. A 1-goal lead is not a 2-goal lead, obviously, but any lead on the road going to halftime is good.
Ramiro in the attacking half just outside the center circle. Over to the near side for Ka'aike. Ahead up the sideline for Kamungo, who will play it back. And it's a moment of possession for Dallas, who've had very little since going ahead by 2 early in this game. Ramiro in the center circle again. Combining with Valiente and off the right side. Pass was off the mark. Quickly ahead up to Solans. Solans goes down, and Uragide penalized there for a foul just in the Dallas half of the center circle. And RSL take it quickly. Now Gilavogi makes his way forward, and Shackmore forced to take him down. Shackmore picks up a yellow card, and he is beside himself. I think he feels like Gilavogi took some liberties here with a dive. But the referee is convinced, and he's given a free kick and a yellow card.
Ryan, I think what they're saying is that they didn't take the free kick where it was supposed to be, and they got caught a little off guard.
I think the contact for a foul is probably warrants the decision, but previously it was very unclear whether the referee wanted them to take it quickly, wanted to allow them to take it quickly, and from where. And RSL just testing the referee there and going for it as is their right.
Yeah, you can take it quickly. That's within the rules, but it has to be some expectation that it comes from somewhere near where the foul happened.
Luna scoops the free kick into the area, headed up in the air. Second ball contested, now nodded clear by Johansson. Back out to Luna. Luna plays it wide to the near side for Gilavogi. Right-footed bending cross in towards Salons, straight up in the air. Musa brings it down on the top of the Dallas box, nutmegs Gilavogi with a pass. And it's Shaq Moore, who's wide on the left side right now for Dallas, who will make his way forward. Back into the middle for Musa. Musa to the halfway line, slip ball back through for Shaq Moore, who's the furthest player forward as the left wing back for the moment, waiting for support. A couple of step overs, and now it breaks for the byline. Shaq Moore, left-footed ball, cut back. Valiente sets it back for Petter Musa, who picks out the bottom corner, and Dallas restore the 2-goal lead. And it's a brace before halftime for Petter Musa. A 3-goal first half for the Hoops on the road.
I'll tell you what, we talk about Dallas being tired, but Shaq Moore is one of the more rested players, and him breaking forward is really critical here as he finds the byline. He gets that ball across. Valiente again got his paw prints all over this one because he's the one making the near post run, turns around, and somehow sort of just nudges the ball back for Petter Musa, who then does that striker thing where he just sort of knows right where the corner of the goal is, right-footed, close range, beats Cabral, 3-1.
I mean, that goal completely created with the connection between Shaq Moore and Petter Musa. Shaq, who was across on the left side for the moment after the free kick for RSL, left him out of position, but he took full advantage, used some of the freshness left in his legs after being rested on Sunday, and just made it happen up the left side, and the cutback ball ultimately dug out by Valiente and finished perfectly by Petter Musa with precision. And now into 4 minutes of first half stoppage time, of which 30 seconds have already elapsed. Gilavogi just outside the Dallas box, poked away from him, and Kaike finds the pass forward to Valiente. Eventually it breaks down near the halfway line for Dallas.
Goal number 16 on that record chase, 17 overall.
And Musa's won it back just outside the center circle. Now he plays it in behind for the run of Moreno. Moreno nearly got there, just getting up through the gears. It's poked away by fellow Colombian Juan Jose Arias. Back to the goalkeeper.
Now I feel like if Musa would have waited just a half a second longer and played that ball into Moreno, I think he could have been back behind the line.
Luna plays it up the far sideline. Sanabria looking for something else before the halftime break for the home team. Kaliskin, slip ball forward to the top of the box, set back for Luna, who scoops it into Salons, whose header is going to be off target and behind for a goal kick.
You and I thought maybe this would be a little bit more of a defensive struggle. Sam Hale is on a roll lately with his prognostications, and he expected something more like this. 4 goals in the first half.
It has been a true midweek MLS matchup, and usually that's the byproduct of some rotation in the 11. I think tonight it's been the byproduct of two teams that are just out on their feet going blow for blow like boxers in a late round.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, because usually what happens is when you get those midweek games, tired teams, they tend to be a little bit more cautious. They don't make runs forward, and it's been the opposite tonight.
Halfway through the 4 minutes added on. RSL win it back off the Dallas goal kick. Played forward to the halfway line for Gilavogi, who turns. He eats up the ground on the dribble, puts it in behind towards Salons, who goes down. He was tangled with Uragide. Referee does not blow for a foul. And that's a good thing, too, because Osaze was the furthest player back for Dallas.
Salons is a pretty big guy himself. He's about 6'2", so that's a good battle between he and Uragide.
Quinton in possession for RSL, headed towards the final minute of the 4. Over to Diego Luna on this near side.
Luna wasn't influential for about the first 20 minutes, but he has been since then.
Work it across to the left side. Engel playing it up the line for Sanabria. Overhits that one, and it runs out for a Dallas throw right next to the corner flag. Really, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry about that. Sanabria really delivers a good ball from the left side, and I think Herman Johansson's done a real good job tonight of staying close to him so he can't hit those telling balls from the left.
I was going to say that the player just behind Sanabria in the formation, Ingles, had a really poor first half, and that was the latest moment, including getting dunked on by Petter Musa for Dallas' second goal. It is Engel who will retrieve it in the RSL half with 30 seconds or so to play. Possession in the center circle. Kalaskin drives forward, ahead to Luna, left center channel for RSL. Wide to Sanabria, outside the 18. Johansson closes him down, but the cross comes in. It's Moreno defending inside the area, and he works it ahead to Petter Musa. A few seconds to play. Musa puts it in behind on the return for Moreno, but that was a rare moment of poor quality on the ball from Petter Musa as he just massively overhit that one. We've played all 4 minutes added on. This may be the last attack for RSL. Wide on the near side with Gilavogi. Gilavogi slips it towards the byline for Yedlin, and I think the fatigue for both teams really was telling in those final minutes of the first half. But ultimately, a 3-1 lead going into the break, Steve. Some really terrific attacking soccer early in the game, and not just counter-attacking, but true build-up all the way through the team and into the final third. And then that final goal from Musa on the break, set up by Shaq Moore, gives Dallas the 2-goal lead back right before halftime.
Yeah, the attack is clicking tonight. I mean, a lot of good stuff in the attacking end, and now they just got to find the energy to see this thing out.
Well, we'll talk about it at the halftime break, but for now, we'll step aside as Dallas leads 3-1 at America First Field. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
You push your body hard in the name of fitness. Sure, it's for a good cause. But a good cause shouldn't mean sacrificing a good time. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern. The future of medicine sparks here.
When you don't compromise on the court, you shouldn't compromise off of it either. Lose the calories, not the taste. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Copyright 2024.
After 45 plus at America First Field, it's FC Dallas 3, Real Salt Lake 1, as an explosive first half up in Sandy, Utah has the Burn up by 2 goals. Hello, everybody. It is the FC Dallas Halftime Show, brought to you by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. It's also brought to you this evening by AdvoCare, building champions together. I'm your host, Sam Hale. Will be joined in just a moment by the voices of this contest, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. But let's start first with your halftime highlights, as we got a few of them tonight. It started in the 17th minute when Dallas took the early lead.
Who sets it infield for Kaique, right center channel. Fired forward to the feet of Musa inside the D. Now back for Moreno, combining with Ramiro here in the left center channel. Infield for Musa, looking for the 1-2. Ramiro trying to find an extra pass. Breaks back for Valiente, who scores. It's Joaquin Valiente on the score sheet first tonight.
Valiente, second of the season, first in MLS play, made it 1-0 Dallas in the 17th minute. And Dallas wouldn't wait long to make their lead 2-0 by way of the Moose.
Kaique towards the top of the D, over to Santi Moreno. Out wide now on the near side for Kamungo, just outside the area. Couple of step overs, getting to his left, now cuts back And Valiente bends the ball towards the back post, and Musa picks out the top corner as he rises highest for number 15 on the year.
Musa's 15th of the MLS season, 16th overall, made it 2-0 Dallas in the 20th minute. RSL would answer 18 minutes later as Sergi Salans off a free kick in the 38th minute would kind of just almost accidentally hit one past a couple of FC Dallas players and Jonathan Sirois. That made it 2-1 Dallas in the 38th minute. But then 7 minutes later, the Moose decided if one's good, why not two?
Musa to the halfway line, slip ball back through for Shaq Moore, who's the furthest player forward as the left wing back for the moment, waiting for support. A couple of step overs, and now it breaks for the byline. Shaq Moore left-footed ball, cut back. Valiente sets it back for Petter Musa, who picks out the bottom corner, and Dallas restore the 2-goal lead. And it's a brace before halftime for Petter Musa. A 3-goal first half for the Hoops on the road.
Musa's second goal of the game, 16th of the MLS campaign, 17th overall, made it 3-1 Dallas as we went to halftime. Now let's get you tonight's halftime stats. Those are brought to you by UMB Bank. The home side has the possession battle 53-47. Each team has 6 shots, but Dallas 4 of those on target, 3 on target for the Claret and Cobalt. 2 saves so far for Jonathan Sirois, 1 save for Rafa Cabral. 7 fouls for Dallas, 2 yellow cards that goes to Nolan Norris and Shaq Moore. 1 foul, no yellow cards so far for RSL. As we bring in the voices of this one, it's Ryan Figert, it's Steve Davis, and gentlemen, there's 2 players we probably need to talk about. Ryan, let's start with the big name. Petter Musa, a brace in that first half. That takes him to 16 on the MLS season, and that's going to put him pretty far ahead in the Golden Boot race, but more importantly, it puts Dallas ahead by 2 going into halftime.
Yeah, honestly, he had chances to make it 3 and have a couple of good chances to have a potential hat trick in the first half. That's not to take away from the 2 goals that he did have because they were both of the highest quality, and a really good ball hung up to him on his first goal by Valiente, and I think Valiente just knew, and maybe this was part of the scouting report, that if Musa was up against anyone besides Philip Quinton, he was going to have a big advantage in the air because Arias is below 6 foot, Engel's below 6 foot, the wingbacks as well aren't too tall. So when he matched himself up at the back post against Engel, that was always a matchup to favor for Dallas, and Valiente still had to put it in a good place, hang it up there, and the Moose uses his antlers to nod that one in. And on the second goal, I think a really good composed finish. It was just the work of somebody who had done that exact move thousands of times in their life. Take the ball inside the area, know where the goalkeeper is, know where the space is, and just put it perfectly in the bottom corner. I think a lesser striker there maybe takes an extra touch or gets it caught underneath their feet or puts it too close to the goalkeeper. And we know Petter Musa is none of those things, as he now has a 3-goal lead in the Golden Boot race, and the record is very soon to fall.
Or on that third goal, just another striker maybe doesn't have the feet that he has, because as Valiente pokes that ball back to him, he's got to really quickly use the outside of his right foot to pull it over to his right side. I mean, quick, and then hit the ball in because there's all kinds of pressure around him. Still talking about Musa here. He didn't get an assist on that first goal, an official one, but he was in on that combination play. And then on goal number 3, the one that he scored, eventually the one we just talked about, he starts the whole sequence as he comes off his defender with the right kind of timing, receives the ball with his back to the goal, and then sprays the ball out to the left side. That gets Shaq Moore running out there into space. So, he's starting that one. So just an all-around effort tonight from Petter Musa. And you're right, he probably should have a third, and don't put it past him to, get the third in the second half.
Yeah, 2 career hat tricks, maybe looking for number 3 with plenty of time remaining in this game. Do you remember fail aggressively? That's sort of the mantra from early in the Quill tenure.
I do.
This was a very fail aggressively performance because you watch the first 10-ish, 15 minutes, and they're trying to play to Musa. They're trying. It never came off. He made a different run, or the pass was off the mark. They won a lot of those second balls, which I think is credit to the energy they're putting forward and also the numbers they're committing into the attacking half. But it finally clicked, and how did it click? First for Valiente is a combination. They try, they fail aggressively. It falls right at the top of the box for the left foot of Joaquin Valiente to score. I think maybe just getting back to one of those early mantras of Eric Quill and wanting the team to take risks in the attacking half. They took risks, and they've shown now in the Austin game and in the first half here tonight in Salt Lake that chemistry is developing in the final third, and we're seeing some really nice interchange between Moreno, Valiente, and Musa, and the wingbacks getting forward, and that is something that, we talked about this team as a high floor team, maybe what's the ceiling? That's something that can really raise the ceiling of this team if they can play like they played over the last game and a half in the attacking third with more consistency.
Sam, I know we want to talk about Joaquin Valiente, but you keep asking the question, is this the best front three?
I don't think we have to ask anymore.
We don't. Well, you said a couple of games back, we think this is it. But this is the result of playing these guys together now.
Yes.
And no disrespect to Logan Farrington, Patrickson Delgado.
We're going to need you soon, probably in the second half.
Right, absolutely. So, those guys have their role, but right now that front three is the best front three, and now having played together a few more games, we're seeing the result in the chemistry developing.
And I'll go ahead and spoil the post-game show. We're going to have a larger Joaquin Valiente discussion because I think there's a couple of very interesting things about him in the grand scheme in this game. But, if you're not going to give the man of the match through 45 minutes to Pedro Musa, I think Valiente deserves it. He's got a goal contribution on all 3 goals. He scored the first one, 2 assists. And, man, I said in the pregame show, it's all coming together for him. Boy, this is the culmination of it coming together for that young man.
Yeah, and it's also, his final third quality was maybe the one thing that we felt he hadn't shown us so far, because we knew the work rate was there. We knew his tactical understanding was excellent. We knew he was willing to get up and down the field and sacrifice defensively. And so to see, the craft as well in the final third, and I think, the spatial awareness is such an important part of that role. And you look at the third goal as a good example of that, where he makes that hard near post run. Oftentimes that's not the run that ever receives the ball, right? You make that run to try and unsettle the defense and drag people across for Musa, who was waiting there. But it did arrive at his feet, and so for him to have the awareness to quickly pivot and play just a little delicate touch towards Musa to give Musa the chance to score himself, I think just is emblematic of where his game is at right now. He's seeing it well, he's combining well with the players around him, and he's put that all together with an excellent work rate that's been there since day one.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I ask you see the game really well, Ryan, what does he do at an elite level? I think you're going to scratch your head and say, well, I'm not sure what he does at all at an elite level. But he shows you that if you do everything pretty well, short pass, long pass, possess, press at the right angles, understand the game, and then add the industry that he has a big engine. Look what he's doing now. I mean, look how valuable this guy. I think as we walked out of the first part of the season into the break, we would have said Valiente is doing okay, but is he really making an impact? Now he's making an impact.
Well, he made an impact to the tune of 3 goals for FC Dallas. He was involved in all 3. They're coming out into the second half with a 3-1 lead. That's going to do it for the halftime show. When we return, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for second half kickoff from America First Field. FC Dallas leads Salt Lake 3-1. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games, plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
God, I'm saying wow.
Want to hear something incredible?
The treatments are over, the infusions are done. Now you can get back to all the kid fun. We'll miss you lots, but you'll be happy to know chemo is over, so it's time to go.
At Children's Health, we're making groundbreaking advancements in cancer treatments every day to bring more healing and more hope to families. Innovative treatments filled with hope. That's incredible together. Learn more at childrens.com.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
Getting set for the second half in Salt Lake City tonight as Dallas lead commandingly 3-1 after 45 minutes. Permusa on the score sheet with 2 goals. Valiente with a goal to his name as well as 2 assists. And then overall attacking performance to relish for Eric Quill's side. And that's not been the identity of this team this season, or really under Eric Quill at any point, Steve. They've built their house on defensive grit, solidity, hitting on the counterattack, and we're starting to see signs that this team is evolving in front of our eyes. And now it's going to be about in the second half locking it down and getting back to that gritty defensive identity.
Yeah, well, I'd say one of the other hallmarks of their identity this year has been efficiency in the attack, because I think I mentioned this a while ago. I looked this up since early May. There's only been one game that Dallas has actually outshot the opposition, and that was the other day in Austin. And so what that tells you, they've still been winning in there, so that tells you that they have been really opportunistic with their chances. So if you can combine that efficiency inside the 18 with more chance creation, which is what they've done tonight, then I think you're really onto something.
Well, the lights are out at America First Field. The fans are waving their phone flashlights back and forth, hoping to conjure up anything for their team in the second half. There were some signs of life for RSL. Obviously, the goal from Sergi Salans and some decent interchange around the top of the box between the likes of Gilavogi and Luna. And that's something for Dallas to monitor and maybe even try and get some fresh legs in to counter in the second half.
Yeah, well, that's why that third goal was so important and so big right now, because Real Salt Lake had really assumed the momentum, and then Dallas just took it back with that one. So, if you're Dallas, now you've got a little bit more of a burst of energy coming in, and you can maybe spend the first 15 minutes sort of expending all the energy before maybe the subs start coming in.
Well, it was 3-1 between these two teams back on May the 9th, and it's 3-1 with 45 minutes to play tonight as the two teams lock horns once again. We will.
Looks like maybe RSL's making a change at halftime.
Yeah, the two teams out onto the field for the second half, and we see Saba Lobjanidze in the recent acquisition from Atlanta United. And we'll get the full information on that substitution for you when we have it. Let's see who he's on to potentially replace here. Looks like no changes in terms of personnel for Dallas at the halftime break.
I see Gilavogi in there. Maybe I don't see. I'm not sure who he came in for.
Well, we're back underway for the second half. Gilavogi's immediately into the attack as he rolls it back through the middle and across to Saba Lobjanidze. Looks like Yedlin will move into the back three. And Arias has come off for RSL. Lobjanidze will play as the wingback wide on the right side for Pablo Mastroeni.
Looks like Logan Farrington's in for Dallas.
Good spot there. So it looks like the only thing that could stop Permusa from a hat trick was him coming off the field. As Benjamin has also come on the field as well. So, well, we never got a shot of the subs coming into the game, so we'll try and get you up to date as quickly as possible with all of those changes from both sides. And not surprised really to see personnel changes from both sides, because as good as Dallas was in the final third, we saw some clear signs that they were tired on the back of what has been an incredible stretch of games.
Yeah, it looks like Benjamin is in for Santi Marino.
Yeah, Farrington for Musa confirmed there. So the Dallas DP duo exits with a 2-goal lead for the team to defend. And Diego Luna will have a free kick now, about 35 yards from goal in the central position. Whips it into the Dallas wall. It cannons off of Norris. Benjamin challenging for the second ball. Looking to get the return from Ramiro. It's dispossessed. And Luna has it wide on the right for RSL. Ahead to Lobjanidze. His cross blocked by Norris. Spinning to the sideline and out for an RSL throw, which they take quickly. Backwards up that far sideline. Into the middle for Spearings. And now Lobjanidze evades the tackle from Ramiro. Moving infield on the dribble. Second pass blocked by Valiente. Spins RSL's way for Engel back at the halfway line and into the RSL half.
Now, Ryan, Dallas will have a lot of defending to do because Moreno and Musa coming out. Those are the two best guys for Dallas at holding the ball in very different ways, but it's going to give RSL even more possession.
Sanabria and Luna working in the wide area on the near side. Back to Sanabria, who whips in a left-footed cross, and the header from Solans is off target as he rose highest and made the right run there, but couldn't direct it on goal.
And that was one of those good balls from Sanabria that I talked about. Dallas had done a pretty good job of denying.
He just got in between Urquide and Norris there, and a better finish gets RSL back in the game.
Norris puts just a little halfway shove on him and maybe just throws him off just a little bit as he rises up there. Didn't really talk about it, but Norris, Nolan Norris, is good, as much as he's come along this year, he's made a couple of mistakes in games now, and he's got to sort of eliminate that from his game.
Up towards Farrington, who goes down in the aerial challenge with Quinton. And the referee stops the play. I'm not sure if he gave a free kick or if he's just going to have Logan Farrington checked out there for the potential of a head injury. And it looks like it will be RSL ball when we restart play. And it was just a high arm, an elbow from 6'6" Philip Quinton. Not often that Logan Farrington is giving up 4 or 5 inches in an aerial battle. That's the case tonight. Caliscan, first pass blocked by Ramiro, back to him, and then foul committed by Valiente. Looks like he stepped on the foot of Caliscan, who's down in pain. Now helped back to his feet.
We just got a replay of it, but didn't get a really good look. Everybody's up, moving now.
Quinton in the center circle as they restart play, moving it over to this near side for Engel, who hooks it forward. Shaq Moore's header back upfield, but it's recovered by Diego Luna for RSL. Nice interchange along this near side. Luna slips it in behind. Caliscan cutback ball for Gilavogi, who scores. And RSL strike straight out of halftime. In the 50th minute, make it a 3-2 game as Gilavogi gets on the score sheet for just the second time this season.
But it was a really nice little interchange, as you said there, Ryan. And, you know, I just mentioned that Dallas is really going to have a problem possessing the ball, and that means they're just going to get pinned back in. And at that time, they just couldn't get all the angles covered, as it's Sanabria to Luna. Eventually makes his way over to Gilavogi, who's just given a little too much room inside the penalty area. Sort of takes a bad first touch, but it bounces nicely for him.
And that is a nightmare start to the second half for Dallas. We're now playing without Musa or Moreno. And they've got just the 1-goal lead now to defend as RSL make their way forward towards the halfway line. Solans hits the switching ball across the halfway line to Luna. On this near side, brings it forward. Luna approaching the top of the box now. And his left-footed ball sent in is going to be caught by Sirois inside the 6.
I feel like they might have to get somebody else in the middle to deal with Luna's movement right now.
Sirois tried a low punt that found Valiente, but it was a tough one with pace for him to control. Now RSL have it once again. You know, we talked about getting fresh legs in the game. Obviously, we don't have all the information about who's feeling what and potential injuries and fatigue. As Gilavogi now breaks in through the right center channel. Slip ball through is repelled by Norris and cleared away. Moreno and Musa coming off wasn't really what I had in mind when we talked about getting fresh legs into the game.
And maybe that was the plan all along, Ryan. Those guys were only going to be able to go 45 minutes.
Switching ball back out to the far side for Lobjanidze. Touch towards the byline. Sliding tackle from Norris. And it'll be a corner kick. No one appealing for the touch off Saba, but it'll be another chance for RSL as Lobjanidze himself goes across to take it.
He does have Saba on the back of his jersey, and that is easier to say than Lobjanidze.
I think he may have gotten away with the touch there. That took it over the byline, but he'll take the corner instead. Whipped in towards the top of the 6, headed away by Dallas, and out the other way where Luna will retrieve. Luna infield for Gilavogi, who sets it wide for Engel. Engel pass to the byline, overhit for Sanabria. And it'll be Jonathan Sirois to restart play.
And I think Dallas got lucky there that the pass was a little overhit because Sanabria had found a good channel there. Dallas just not really dealing with the movement right now of RSL. They've come out with a lot of energy. You know, Pablo Mastroianni, he was on top of him at the half, and they're moving well off the ball.
Sirois launches it up towards the right side. It bounces once. Johansson in pursuit up against Sanabria. Last touch off of Dallas high up the field. It'll be an RSL throw deep in their own end. Kicking back for Quinton, who will roll it into the 6-yard box for Cabral. Pass out towards the left side. Benjamin had a bead on it, got a touch, and it ran out for an RSL throw.
I bragged about Cabral's ability with his feet a while ago, but second time tonight he's been something less than accurate with that first ball out to the back line.
Yedlin will take the throw for RSL. Looking for options. Eventually launching it into the middle up towards the halfway line. Solans runs into Uriguide, who stands tall there. As Solans hits the deck, and Dallas have possession.
That was man against boys there, and that was a he need to eat more moment. Uriguide just trucked him fairly.
Benjamin rides one tackle well, gets it out to the left side for Farrington. Farrington up against 2 defenders, turning in field, holding off the challenge from Yedlin. Rolled into the middle. Johansson's come in field to receive it. Johansson lines it up on the left foot, and his strike is off target. From there, as the 2 substitutes, Benjamin and Farrington, who are enlisted with doing their best Musa Moreno impression, showed some good signs there. RSL will have to retake the goal kick after they weren't sure. They made some type of faux pas for the referee.
There was a ball on the backside of the field that Villarreal asked him to clear.
Quinton under pressure at the top of the box, rolls it forward up to Gilavogi. First time pass wide for Saba. Heavy touch, and Benjamin wins it back quickly for Dallas. Quick interchange of passes on that far side. Farrington receives it on the turn, driving forward to the top of the box. Cut back ball, finds Ka'ike. Ka'ike lines up the shot, and instead of shooting, he had Herman Johansson in space on the right side. The shot ends up and over the bar.
I think everybody watching this game saw what we saw. Everybody, that is except Ka'ike. That ball needed to go over Herman Johansson.
And that will be his last action tonight as number 55 comes off after 55 minutes. And Christian Kappas is on in his stead, the 3rd change of the game for Dallas. RSL restart with a goal kick. Lifting out to the far sideline. Yedlin still deep in the RSL end.
And he has fresh legs, and maybe he can help Dallas retain just a little bit more possession.
Whistle goes, foul against Nolan Norris in the RSL half in the back of Gilavogi. They'll move it along the back line to restart play.
Kappas encouraging his teammates to get forward a little bit, press a little bit more, not sit back so far.
Cabral passes out to this near side. Engel up against Valiente. He'll send it long and clear. Foot race between Solans and Uriguide. Uriguide got the first contact and then comes away with the ball. And oh, that's a tough tackle from behind for Solans as he brings down Osaze. I mean, for me, that's a clear as day yellow card for a tackle from behind. We'll see what the replay shows.
I mean, it's been a good battle between them.
You just can't go lunging in like that.
Yeah, absolutely. From behind, he just about got his Achilles. I agree with you.
No card produced by the referee there. Only Nolan Norris booked so far in the game. It's launched long up towards Logan Farrington. Bounces just outside the 18. And out of the reach of the Dallas striker. It's going to be caught by the goalkeeper. Cabral, who came together with Logan Farrington and is a little slow to get up.
Yeah, Logan didn't really get into him hard, but he got into him a little bit. Probably didn't need to.
RSL take the free kick short to restart play. 57th minute, 3-2 Dallas. All Dallas' scoring coming in the first half. Kappas trying to turn as Dallas won it back. It gets ahead to Farrington. Now Kappas right center channel. Drop of the shoulder, played back for Shaq Moore, who's fouled there by Gilavogi. RSL, by the way, only had one foul committed in the entire first half. I'm sure that was a number held up in the locker room and said, are we even competing out there?
You think?
Because since the break, I'll enlist our producer Sam to figure out what the exact number is, but it's well above one. Valiente lines up the wide free kick on the near side. Goes short, finds Kappas in field with some time. Now he bends the left-footed ball in towards Kamungo, headed away by Gilavogi up to the halfway line. 4 fouls for RSL since the break. And we've only played 12 minutes. Ramiro diagonal from the far side up towards Johansson, who was momentarily leading the line. Second ball breaks for Dallas. Here's Johansson again in the middle.
Dallas has definitely pushed their defensive lines up here after they conceding that early goal in the second half, and it's working for them.
Scooped forward to Farrington, who chests it wide for Valiente. Valiente finds Benjamin on the top of the box in the central area. Onto his left foot, fires the shot away and over the bar. Not a bad build up there as Dallas play through Logan Farrington.
I feel like there was one more pass there. Benjamin had Bernie Kamungo in a good spot out on the left side, but just like Kaike a minute ago.
Oh, more nice work there to win it back and finds Farrington. Farrington on the volley. That one blazed just over the bar. Shaq Moore stepped out of the back line to win it and lifted a perfect ball in for Logan Farrington, who just got underneath that one.
Yeah, so now Kaike, Benjamin, Farrington, they've had 3 good penalty area incursions in the last 5 minutes, and you just hope it doesn't come back to haunt them, not having gotten anything on the scoreboard from those.
Into the 60th minute, Cabral launches it out towards this near side. Shaq Moore wins the header. And it's repelled back over the halfway line by RSL. The teams trade headers. Eventually it runs out for Dallas throw.
Mastroeni just held the ball, wouldn't give it to Johansson until he'd given his team the right kind of instruction.
Johansson takes the throw into midfield. Kappas is looking to use the speed on the ball to turn and just got it back to Nolan Norris. Norris's pass out of the back is deflected by Kaliskin, and last touch comes off of Norris. It'll be an RSL throw on the far sideline.
I'm not sure Nolan Norris is having his best match tonight.
Just tried some kind of slip pass there that was cut out. RSL move it along the halfway line. Lucas Engel left of the circle. Back for Quinton once again. Yedlin playing up the far sideline for Saba, the halftime substitute. RSL, like pretty much everybody that was involved in Leagues Cup, is in an 8-game month of August, and they've got an extra game on the schedule now as well, with that quarterfinal matchup with Leon coming on the 25th. As they make their way forward along this near side, Sanabria, low cross in along the top of the box. Kamungo got it clear. Ramiro working with Kappas now to get it further from Dallas's goal, and Kappas then fouled from behind by Diego Luna, who will pick up a yellow card.
And that's a yellow card. I think it's sort of halfway stopping the counterattack and halfway just persistent infringement by the team.
Yeah, not much force in it, but clearly an intentional foul. And no real complaints for the RSL number 10.
So as we're now into the last half hour, minus stoppage time that is, but I think the trick for Quill is, to figure out which of his players needs the rest, needs to come off.
Johansson dribbling into his own half from the halfway line, tries to play the ball forward towards Benjamin. It's given away. And now RSL make their way forward on this near side with Gilavogi. Gilavogi, right-footed cross towards the top of the box. Kamungo will chest it down and dribble forward past Luna, who just picked up that yellow card. Now Kamungo plays it wide to Benjamin. Valiente sprinting forward through the middle. Farrington there as well. Benjamin, left-footed ball, finds Valiente, sets it up for his left foot, poked over towards Farrington on the turn. Logan Farrington sets it back for Valiente again. And now wide for Kamungo as there's no real opening with RSL getting bodies back. Kappas now just outside the box in the central area. Moving it along out to Shackmore, wide on the right. Into Johansson inside the area, set back towards Benjamin, poked away from him. And now RSL will clear their lines up the near sideline. Benjamin, nice sliding intervention in midfield. Got a piece of the ball, but RSL keep hold of it. Eventually it runs out off of Caliscan.
Dallas definitely better pushing those lines up and pressing, but that makes it harder physically as well.
Next change for Pablo Masterini on the way here as Stein Spearings is replaced by Pablo Ruiz. Now into his 9th season with RSL. We haven't seen nearly enough of him as we should have, with 3 really major injuries over that stint in Sandy. Lifted forward by RSL, bouncing ball outside the Dallas penalty area will eventually run through to Sirois.
Solans got into Uriguita again back there.
Norris playing it forward to Farrington, who lifts it out towards the sideline, but Kamungo won't be able to keep that one in play. Ruiz returned to the lineup after that long-term injury with a couple of starts in Leagues Cup and got on the score sheet as well for a couple of goals. As here's Gilavogi now bearing down on the Dallas back line, slips in Saba along the RSL right, chipped ball in for Luna, whose shot is down and into the top corner. A header at the back post for Diego Luna, who makes no mistake and ties this game at 3.
Now that started with a mistake in midfield. Ramiro and Kappas got split, and that got the FC Dallas defense scrambling. They've been doing better in the last few minutes, but once Gilavogi starts running at the back line, everybody's moving around, and then they just lose Luna at the back post. And he's just got a simple header at about 6 yards that he's able to put past Sirois.
Yedlin had one in the first half where he headed it down and it bounced up and over the bar. This time Luna heads it down and it bounces into the top corner. Sirois got a little piece of it. But it's a new game again with 25 minutes to play.
Well, I mentioned a minute ago the trick for Eric Quill is to figure out which player has just spent it all, and Ramiro is one of them that you might have to think about. Bernie Kamungo, Valiente, Johansson, they've all put in a lot of miles over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Dallas restart play from the kickoff. It's Johansson playing into the middle for Farrington, working with Ramiro along this right side. Kappas wide on the right, has to try and go through 2 defenders there, eventually dispossessed by Ruiz. Benjamin, good work to try and win it back, but again, it doesn't stick. And now Luna gets on the turn, firing it forward towards Solans. First touch right into Uriguide, and then he fouls Osaze, and that's getting into persistent infringement territory for the young Spaniard.
Yeah, it's a tough foul, too.
Still no card brandished towards the former Oregon State forward. It's felt like ever since Dallas took the 2-goal lead initially that it's been RSL threatening to turn this game on its head, and they finally have done so here.
Well, you say you're right, but then there was that 5-minute spell where Dallas had 3 good attacking thrusts, and they just didn't turn it into anything.
If you're just joining us, so the scoring for Dallas coming in the first half with Pedermusa with a brace. Santi Moreno and Pedermusa both withdrawn at halftime, as Dallas contends with this incredibly busy August schedule. RSL running out of play on the far sideline. That'll be a throw for Bernard Kamungo, 25 yards from the halfway line, taken back for Norris, who lifts it up towards Logan Farrington. Header won by RSL, who make their way up the far side with Luna. Infield for Saba. Slip pass is cut out by Osaze. Smuggled wide for Kamungo. Nice touch around Yedlin, who brings him down. And Bernie's down holding his knee. I believe Yedlin picked up a card, or at least a talking to from the referee. As Yedlin is just back from yellow card accumulation suspension.
There's just absolutely no attempt to get the ball there. Bernie Kamungo scoots past him, and Yedlin just kicks him and takes him down.
Dallas are going to make their final changes at any given moment here. So we see Sebastian Ibiaga up, and there's an opportunity to add one more potentially as it's launched long up towards Farrington, contending with Philip Quinton. Second ball breaks for Engel and RSL. Yedlin playing it forward for Ruiz, approaching the halfway line on the RSL right. Ball through the line. Salons brings down Osaze as he sprints in behind. And Osaze's down, writhing, holding his right ankle. And that is 3 fouls.
This half
From Salons on Uriguide, all probably worth the yellow card on their own. We'll see if the referee goes over for any further punishment. He just brought him down from up above and made contact on the foot as well for Osaze.
Yeah, I think Armando Villarreal does a pretty good job generally, but I think he needs to get on top of this one.
So it'll be Herman Johansson off for Sebastian Ibiaga, and that'll leave Dallas with 1 change remaining. And because they made 2 changes at halftime, they have 1 window to still make that change. So Shaq Moore will shift out to right back. In a 3-3 game, a 6-goal thriller. Sirois playing it out to Nolan Norris. Fired ahead for Benjamin between the lines. His first touch takes him wide. He makes his way past the halfway line. Finds Farrington in the middle. Turning in field to find Kappas, who's closed down from behind by Gilavogi. Did well to keep hold of it. And now it's switched out to Shaq Moore, who's forward as the right wing back. Whips it into the area towards Benjamin. And it's cleared by Quinton up and over the bar for a corner.
We'll have to wait until Dallas defends, but I believe Dallas has gone to 4 in the back now. And so good for Shaq Moore for getting forward from that right back position. Getting a good cross in, something that RSL had to deal with and didn't deal with it well.
So a chance now in the 70th minute as the ball is set down by Valiente at the far flag. We'll look for an outswinger here. Already 2 assists on the night. Whipped in towards the near post and headed away. Ramiro tracks down the loose ball. And it's moved out towards this near side for Ron Benjamin. Benjamin up against Gilavogi. Plays it wide for Bernie Kamungo. Kamungo baiting in the defender. Now tries to sprint past him, and Engel got a piece of the ball. And now he'll be able to clear his lines. Working, though, in tight quarters with Gilavogi, who runs it out of play. It'll be a Dallas throw near the corner flag.
Again, it works for Dallas to press RSL. They're not working out of the back very well. It just expends so much more energy.
And with Ibiaga on the field, he can now launch a long throw in. Heaved into the box towards the top of the 6 and cleared away by RSL. Fight for the second ball as Kappas nods it back for Shaq Moore, all the way back to Sirois. Ramiro, the deepest outfield player for Dallas, receives it from Sirois, playing it up the far sideline. Valiente is wide on the left for the moment as everybody's a bit scrambled in their positioning. Valiente trying to make his way out of the back half, and Ramiro sized down the RSL player. He got a good chunk of the ball as well, but he went sliding in on Gilavogi, and the referee is given a free kick.
I mean, Ramiro's complaining, but even when you get the ball and you go in that way,
actually,
you kind of
no contact at all on the RSL player.
Yes,
he actually completely stopped himself.
It was really more like he just sat down on the field and then just put his leg out, more than a lunge.
You can see what the referee thought was happening, but
right.
actually it didn't happen at all. RSL building up here along the left side into the Dallas half with Diego Luna up against Ibiaga. Engel Plays it back wide once again for Luna. Matched up now with Shaq Moore. Drop of the shoulder and plays the ball into the area. Uragide repels it. Intended for Ruiz. They'll recycle it back for Philip Quinton, formerly of the Columbus Crew. Now finds a home in RSL as a ball hooked into the Dallas area. Bounces over the head of Kamungo at the back post. Lobjanidze sends it back in, and Ibiaga does well there to defend the back post, and it runs out for a goal kick.
So at that time, Ron Benjamin was defending on as a right-sided midfielder, and if he's going to be over there, he's got to give a little bit more support. He was really slow to find his positions over there.
Benjamin on the right and Kamungo on the left of the midfield four. If indeed it is the switch to the 4-4-2. Dallas working along this near side. Benjamin caught offside as Kappas played the pass forward. '74th minute. 3-3 game in which Dallas has held two different two-goal leads. That feels a long way away now. As Norris plays it out for an RSL throw at the halfway line.
Yeah, I think Dallas is in sort of a 4-4-2 now.
Ball in behind along the near side is going to be overhit and looking for Sanabria, but it'll run through for a goal kick. Well, Dallas this season, we mentioned in the first half, 9 wins, 1 loss, 3 draws when scoring first. They've genuinely been excellent in those situations. As the goal kick is launched long by Sirois, brought down perfectly by Farrington, played ahead by Ramiro, and Kappas was looking for the pass over to Valiente, and it's going to be a handball, and it's the last defender here who commits the handball. Valiente was absolutely free. It's a yellow card out of the pocket of the referee. Dallas appealing for more. I'm not sure. Don't usually see those given as more than a yellow card, but he certainly erased a potential go-ahead goal with a handball there, DeAndre Yedlin.
And remember, he should have been carrying a yellow card for the foul on Bernie Kamungo a while ago.
So it's a free kick opportunity instead for Valiente, about 20 yards outside the RSL box, shaded towards this near side. RSL setting a deep line, essentially on top of their own 6-yard box here. Valiente hooks it into the mixer, and it's headed away, not clear, still contested inside the penalty area. And the referee blows the whistle for a foul on Nolan Norris in the aftermath. I have to say, there's been some pretty favorable decisions and lack thereof that have gone for the home team tonight.
And Yedlin, I'm not sure, you might have mentioned it, Yedlin did get a yellow card in that in the 75th minute, just a minute ago.
Luna receives it just shy of the halfway line, battling with Shaq Moore, who lost his footing and commits the foul. It's just a free kick taken quickly by RSL. Still with Luna. Played along the ground out towards this near side. It's Valiente back defending as the low cross is sent in towards Solans. So out of the reach of the striker who clattered into Sirois. Bernie Kamungo trying to make his way forward with the ball at the far side. Eventually Benjamin sends it forward into the middle. RSL back in possession. They've had a ton of it in this second half. Scooped out towards this near side out of the reach of Sanabria and behind for a goal kick.
Well, here's what I see happening. The other night against Minnesota, RSL had a 1-0 lead. They gave up a late goal. So, they had to split the points on that one. Tonight, sitting here with just 1 point so far, I think they're going to be desperate to get the win, which tells me, is that Sam Sarver time?
And they've got one change potentially still to make. Solans is down, and he may need to come out of this game as well. noted he's struggled to make it to 90 minutes this season at various points.
And you mentioned that clattering a minute ago with Sirois. Maybe he got the worst of that one. Somebody else is down here.
And the training staff coming on to the field for RSL. And it is for Solans, who's now sat down. And I think that means he'll be coming out of the game here in the 78th minute. Dallas making 2 changes at halftime as Farrington and Benjamin replaced Musa and Moreno. We've seen Ibiaga come in for Herman Johansson as well. And Christian Kappas replaced Kaike, leaving them with 1 change to potentially make down the stretch. This game was settled, not necessarily won, but settled by Sam Sarver back in Frisco in May. He scored the 3rd and the dagger in a 3-1 win. We'll see if he's the player that Eric Quill turns to down the stretch here, but it's first going to be a few changes for RSL. Coming into the game, Lineker, the Brazilian, and Olatunji will replace Solans. So a couple of changes in the front line for Pablo Mastroeni as well.
Yeah, for me, right now Valiente is playing a little bit of a hybrid role, sort of second striker, but also he drops back on the left and adds another midfielder in there. So, but he looks like he's about run his race, and I can see that being the change, bringing Sam Sarver in and letting him see if he can get on a flick on or a move on from Logan Farrington.
Olatunji's first touch is to nod Jonathan Sirois' goal kick out of play. It's a throw in just into the RSL half on this near side. Shackmore walking forward with the ball in his hands. Looking for the option here. Fires it forward, looking for Benjamin, headed away by Kaliskin. Up towards the front line. Arguide got an important touch. Dallas can't keep hold of the second ball, and Yedlin will play out of the back for RSL. Out to the far side. Kamungo, though, hops the passing lane, and now he makes his way forward. Chopped down on the far side. No, the referee says that the defender got the ball. Kamungo is still down as the home team play out. Eric Quill very frustrated. His body language on the touchline as Kamungo nearly got Dallas going the other way. He's slowly jogging back into position now. Kaliskin past the halfway line and out towards this left side. Ruiz hooks it forward towards Luna. Uriguide steps in front of Olatunji. And now he comes forward on the dribble. Waved up by the referee as he tried to get a free kick. Engel recovers possession for RSL. 10 minutes plus stoppage time to go.
It was a poorly disguised effort in that case by Uriguide.
So many different things to consider when you think about a potential 3-3 result. Dallas will be frustrated by giving away a 2-goal lead not once but twice, but also in the grand scheme of things with the travel schedule and the way the games have stacked up in August, a road draw is never on its own a bad result. Here's Luna coming forward, looking to make things go from bad to worse for Dallas. Quick 1-2. It's back to Luna, who fires a right-footed shot, dragged off target, just outside the area.
Ramiro looks really tired, and that time he tried to jump a passing lane. He was just a little bit too slow, and it allowed Luna to get into that half space that he likes. I think Sirois been a little bit quicker on his goal kicks here. He's not really angering Villarreal anymore.
He's been much more accurate with them tonight as well. Something that he'd struggled with in the recent games. That one was well placed, and as we see, Dallas will indeed bring Sam Sarver into this game late. RSL run it out of play deep in their own half on this near sideline.
They haven't been good about bringing the ball out of the back tonight at all.
Throwing taken back for Shackmore. Into the middle for Kappas. Tried to play it back out wide to Valiente, but
I mean, Kappas just hasn't been very good with the ball tonight. That's about 4 passes that I've seen, or times that he's lost the ball needlessly.
Throw in is headed away by Ibiaga, who stepped out of the back line, but Dallas doesn't win the second ball. And now coming through the center circle, it's a loose pass from Lineker over to Kamungo, who intercepts. And possession in the defensive end for Dallas. Now ahead to Bernie Kamungo at the halfway line. 12 shots to 10, advantage for RSL. 7 shots in the first half for Dallas, just 3 in this second half so far. All 3 goals coming before the break. Ramiro, just shy of the halfway line. Rolls it back for Osaze, keeps it moving over to Ibiaga. Ahead for Farrington, nice touch to turn, and now lifted out towards this right side. Valiente sprinting towards the byline, receives it, 1v1 in the wide area. Moving backwards, now a slip pass backwards to Ramiro. Ramiro into Farrington at the top of the box, holding off his man. Farrington tried to find a way past Sanabria there. Sanabria comes away with it. And now going the other way, the ball bounces for Luna through the center circle, is passed forward for Olatunji. But Olatunji had to stop his run. He was offside, and it runs through for a Dallas throw deep in their own territory on this near side. Here comes Sam Sarver. Can Lightning strike twice against Salt Lake? Sam Sarver will replace Bernard Kamungo as the final Dallas change tonight. Looks like Benjamin goes to the left, Valiente to the right, and Sarver will pair Logan Farrington. This duo has been lethal late in games already this season.
I think he'd use another one tonight. They were so good in the first half, and then just got leaky in a couple of different places for a few minutes in the first half, and again in the second half.
Just about 6 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Ibiaga has a throw in for Dallas on this near side. He'll launch it up the sideline. Bouncing ball breaks for Engel, and Yedlin will move it back to Cabral. Cabral hammers it forward, well past the halfway line. Osaze wins the header up against Olatunji. Shaq Moore looking for a way out, makes his way up to the halfway line, now cutting back up against 2 defenders. Holding off Pablo Ruiz, eventually going down, and a free kick won by Shaq Moore there, who was really good just to keep hold of it and eventually win the free kick.
That's really, really good work there for Shaq Moore. Just wasn't getting a lot of help over there. Not only wins the battle and getting the free kick, but then starts jawing with Mastroeni over on the sideline.
Yeah, it was Sanabria actually who gave it away. Now Ibiaga takes the free kick, launching it long, looking for Farrington and Sarver. Quinton wins the header. It's headed towards the sideline on the near side, kept in play. And Dallas stepped the pressure up. It deflects off of Kappas. Spinning ball in midfield is nodded wide by RSL. Sanabria brings it past halfway and plays it into the middle. Under the foot of Ruiz, he'll retrieve it in the center circle. As Dallas trying to get numbers back here. Ruiz out wide to the right side for Saba, up against Benjamin. Cuts back to his left foot, sends the low cross in, repelled by Norris. Back out to Ruiz. Back for Yedlin. RSL working wide on their right side. Slip ball for the run of Kaliskin out of midfield into the area for Lobjanidze. And a sliding intervention is a good one from Ramiro to put it behind for a corner. 86th minute. RSL looking for a crucial 7th goal of the contest.
Well, it's asking a lot, but Dallas just has to dig deep and see what's within them. You just got to see out these last few minutes with good defending.
Corner taken short to Luna. Luna to the far corner of the 18, sets it back into the middle. It's Ruiz. Ruiz with the left foot, saved by Sirois into the middle. Not cleared. Eventually, it's going to be behind for another corner off of Valiente.
Oh, and Ruiz had so much time to line up that shot. Looked like Sirois saw it a little bit late. It came to a lot of bodies.
Yeah, Sirois was moving to his left and had to go back down to his right and palmed it right into the middle. Fortunately, nobody there for the rebound for RSL. They take the corner short again. Luna now this time breaking for the byline. Up against Valiente. Back for Kaliskin. Moved into the middle for Ruiz. This time, though, Dallas quicker to step to it and force it all the way back to Yedlin in the center circle.
Yeah, Noah Norris sniffed that one out and got there quicker.
Engel trying to play it up the near sideline. Deflected out by Shaq Moore. Taken back to Lucas Engel, who will move it through the middle. Played out wide to the right side. Benjamin hops in front of the passing lane there, beats Saba to the ball. Now he makes his way forward to the halfway line. Rolled into midfield. Nobody really there for Dallas, but it breaks kindly their way. And now Valiente can make his way up the far sideline. 3 to his right as he whips it in towards Sarver at the back post, and it's important defending from Quinton at full stretch to keep that one away from Sam Sarver. I believe it'll be a Dallas corner to restart play.
I mean, it hasn't been a good night for the back line, but you're right. Philip Quinton really did well on that one. I feel like Sam Sarver maybe could have even attacked the ball a little bit more at that back post.
Quinton a little bit slow to get up after contorting his body to clear. And it will be a corner from the near side for Valiente.
Where's Lalas Abubakar when you need him?
Plenty of targets to aim at. Valiente in towards the near post, and that one comes off of Farrington last, and it'll be a goal kick.
Did he try to chest that one in?
Let's see if we get a look at the replay, but it found Logan Farrington. There was a very crowded 6-yard box between him and the goal.
Yeah, right at the near post.
Farrington sliding intervention in midfield, but it breaks to Olatunji of RSL. Switching ball in the air out towards the near side. Brought down by Sanabria, quickly moving it into the middle. Lineker working with Sanabria wide on this near side. Urigides across to defend. He lost his footing, and he's out of the play as Luna lines one up from distance. And Sirois with the fingertips puts it wide and behind for a corner.
Yeah, that was at about 30 yards, and tried to curl it into the back post, and maybe another one that Sirois saw just a little bit late.
Yeah, that one was bending in, probably going to tuck its way into the inside of the post if Sirois doesn't make the crucial diving save down to his left. Here's the corner whipped in. Air underneath it. It bounces through the 18 and out to Sanabria on the near side. Into the middle for Olatunji, who heads it up in the air, and Sirois will make the catch in the 90th minute. And quickly roll it ahead for Sam Sarver, who is shot out of a cannon here, and he's brought down near the halfway line, cynically, by the RSL defender who will pick up a yellow card. And a free kick will restart play at the halfway line. It was Ruiz who scythed down Sam Sarver. They'd seen that trick once before.
Yep. Yeah, Ruiz had no complaints on the yellow card. It was, you call it right, it was cynical. Nowhere close to the ball. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Ramiro plays it along the ground and out wide to Benjamin. He goes 1v1 with Saba, cutting onto his right foot. Ron Benjamin scores! The go-ahead goal past the 90th minute. How about that one for your first time for FCD? 2 goals up, back to 3-3, and now 4-3 they lead in stoppage time.
Dallas got the free kick going forward. It was nothing fancy, just a ball out to the left to Benjamin. He was out there on his own, ran right at the back line, cuts in at the corner of the penalty area, takes his right foot and says, you know what, let me just see if I can find that back corner, that back right stick. And he finds it perfectly there. That's easily his best moment in an FC Dallas shirt. And what a time for him to find a shot like that.
He did well, too, to look up like he was going to try and cross it in and just whip the right foot through it. Cabral diving to his left, couldn't keep it out. And now we head into 4 minutes of stoppage time with a lead to defend for FC Dallas once again.
And I think, well, Armando Villarreal, I think he's trying to hold up and indicate how many more minutes he was going to add, but he's holding up 4 fingers. And that's exactly what
we have 4 to play from here.
Maybe, yes.
Dallas wins it back. Valiente up the far sideline. Farrington wins the throw for Dallas right at halfway. So that would take us to about 95 and a half. And that is the task now for Dallas. Empty the tank once again, like they had to in Q2, into 10 minutes of stoppage time on Sunday.
Benjamin just picked up a yellow card for delay.
Ibiaga wins a header in the center circle up towards Sarver. Sarver flicks it along, and he'll run through for the goalkeeper. The end is in sight for this squad, reinforced by 5 substitutes in the second half. And the 9th game of 12 straight away from home. It's wide with RSL on the far side. Yedlin's flick is intercepted by Norris, who will just make his way up the far sideline and run for the hills here. Running into Quinton, knocks it one way, runs around the other. Eventually Quinton gets it back to Cabral. Played along the ground and out to this near side. Luna is going to be dispossessed. Sarver doing the defensive work. It breaks back to Luna. Cuts in field, makes his way past Kappas. Here's Luna moving into the middle. Set it back towards Ruiz. Farrington got in the way. And then Nolan Norris did well to win a free kick. And he's down now holding his right knee as Luna, who's already been booked, may find himself in some further trouble here. Referee Armando Villarreal is trying to get a hold of this as the two teams came and swarmed around him. It's a hard foul, and then Luna stepped down on potentially on Nolan Norris, or certainly very close to him, to try and continue playing. He's gotten away with potentially a second yellow card foul there.
Well, Nolan Norris positioned himself really well, and Diego Luna just ran into him from behind, and then you're right, stepped over him dangerously.
Sirois launches it long up towards the Dallas left. Farrington brings it down, keeps it in play. Poked in field, though, and couldn't find a teammate. Second ball breaks up into the air where Kappas volleys it out and behind for a goal kick. 4 minutes past the 90, so about 90 seconds remaining. A 4-3 thriller at the Riot tonight. So one last roll of the dice for RSL. Yedlin in possession just into the Dallas half. Or recycle it back through Quinton. It's the diagonal in the air up towards the front line. Ibiaga wins the header. Ramiro chests it down towards Sarver, who stabs it up to the halfway line. A minute to play. Wide with Sanabria. Early cross in along the ground. Finds Olatunji near the top of the D. Turning and playing it wide. Yedlin, loose touch, takes him further wide. Plays it to the byline for Saba. Tackled off his foot by Nolan Norris. And Benjamin will just lift it forward up to Farrington, who brings it down on the chest. Still deep in the Dallas half. Working with Benjamin and eventually winning a throw as we've ticked now into the 96th minute. And that will do it. That will be enough as Dallas wins a roller coaster of a matchup late into Wednesday night at the Riot tonight. 4-3, your final score. Ron Benjamin with the late heroics. And Steve, another win characterized by real grit down the stretch, but this one came in a whole different way. An offensive outburst between these two teams.
Well, you know, when Petar Musa goes off the field, you wonder who is it that's going to come up with a big goal. I don't know that any of us had Ron Benjamin high on that list, but he sure came through with a huge one, and I know we'll talk about it on the post-game show.
Yeah, plenty to break down. We ran out of time at halftime just talking about the first half alone, much less what happened from there. But ultimately, it will be a victory edition of the FC Dallas post-game show as this one finishes 4-3 for the Hoops. And you've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here!
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. and the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
This is Logan Farrington, striker for FC Dallas. Behind every goal, there's a team you don't always see. The ones keeping everything running, secure, connected, ready. That's General Informatics. From cybersecurity to smarter IT solutions, General Informatics powers FC Dallas with advanced technology support so we can stay focused on the game. General Informatics. Complex IT made simple.
After just under 100 minutes at America First Field, it's FC Dallas going back-to-back with wins in MLS as a late winner gives Dallas all 3 points, 4-3 over Real Salt Lake tonight. Hello, everybody. It is the FC Dallas postgame show brought to you tonight by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. It's also brought to you by UMB Bank. See how UMB can help you achieve your business goals. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a moment by the voices of tonight's victory, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. But let's start first with your postgame highlights. And with 7 goals, we have quite a few to get through. It started in the 17th minute when FC Dallas opened the scoring.
Who sets it infield for Kaique, right center channel. Fired forward to the feet of Musa inside the D. Now back for Moreno, combining with Ramiro here in the left center channel. Infield for Musa, looking for the 1-2. Ramiro trying to find an extra pass. Breaks back for Valiente, who scores. It's Joaquin Valiente on the score sheet first tonight.
Valiente's second goal of the season, first in MLS play, made it 1-0 Dallas in the 17th minute. But it wouldn't take long for Dallas to double their lead, courtesy of Pedro Musa.
Kaique towards the top of the D, over to Santi Moreno. Out wide now on the near side for Kamungo, just outside the area. Couple of step overs, getting to his left, now cuts back. And Valiente bends the ball towards the back post, and Musa picks out the top corner as he rises highest for number 15 on the year.
15th in MLS play for Musa, 16th on the season, made it 2-0 Dallas in the 20th minute. Dallas's lead would be cut in half, and in the 38th, Sergi Solans would put one kind of almost inadvertently into the mixer and get it past Jonathan Serrois. That made it 2-1 in the 38th minute, but just before halftime, Pedro Musa struck again.
Musa to the halfway line, slip ball back through for Shackmore, who's the furthest player forward as the left wing back for the moment, waiting for support. Couple of step overs, and now it breaks for the byline. Shackmore left-footed ball cut back. Valiente sets it back for Pedro Musa, who picks out the bottom corner, and Dallas restore the 2-goal lead. And it's a brace before halftime for Pedro Musa. A 3-goal first half for the Hoops on the road.
Musa second of the game, 16th in MLS, 17th overall, made it 2-1 Dallas as we hit the halftime break. But Dallas's lead wouldn't survive much longer past halftime. Morgan Guilavogi in the 50th minute, Diego Luna in the 64th minute made it 3-3 as Dallas and Real Salt Lake were set to split the points just with about 25 and change left to go. But it was an unexpected account opening that gives Dallas all 3 points tonight.
Ramiro plays it along the ground and out wide to Benjamin. He goes 1v1 with Saba, cutting onto his right foot. Ron Benjamin scores! The go-ahead goal past the 90th minute. How about that one for your first time for FCD? 2 goals up, back to 3-3, and now 4-3 they lead in stoppage time.
Ron Benjamin's first goal in any competition for FC Dallas made it 4-3 in the 90th plus first minute, and that was enough for Dallas to ride out about 6 minutes of unofficial stoppage time, and that gives Dallas their 6th point in their last 2 games. Let's go ahead and get you these post-game stats. They're brought to you tonight by UMB Bank. Possession stays the way of the Claret and Cobalt, 56-44. 14 shots, 8 on target for RSL, 12 shots, 5 on target for FCD, although 4 of those went in, which is the important stat there. 5 saves tonight for Jonathan Serrois, 1 for Rafa Cabral. 14 fouls for Dallas, 3 yellow cards. 11 fouls for RSL. A reminder, they had 1 at halftime, and 3 yellow cards tonight for the home side. Let's bring in the voices of this victory. It's Ryan Figert. It's Steve Davis. And, lads, I find myself in 2 positions. One, I was right. Let's all just acknowledge it.
4-3.
4-3. The only one that said, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Hats off to you.
Thank you. But 2, I was prepared to come in here and make a lot of statements about, I'm not sure about the substitutions tonight. It looks like maybe Dallas' second half issues caught up to them, but at least they got a point. Ron Benjamin, Ryan, said, no, don't worry about all that. I'm going to blow up your postgame show in the best possible way with a legit banger of a debut goal to steal 2 more points for Dallas.
This was one of the more wild roller coaster games of the season. Back and forth, we saw in the first half some fantastic play in the attacking third, some of the best build-up and chemistry between the forwards that we've seen all season. And then I think, we don't have any word to the contrary. It just seemed like Musa and Moreno were spent after, playing deep into the game in Austin, going again from the start tonight and doing it at a high level, right? Cooking at a high level in that first half. They have to come out of the game. And from there, even before that, with Musa and Moreno in the game, the momentum had swung in RSL's direction, and it felt like, okay, Dallas is really going to have it, to grind this one to the end with, a 3-1 lead or a 3-2 lead. When you get pegged back at 3-3, I think, we've been saying this all season. Weaker teams would fold in that moment and concede again. I don't think RSL had another good chance, really, after they scored their third goal, and it was actually Dallas who had the better chances, including Benjamin. Great goal. It's something that, we knew he had it in him in terms of his resume coming in. He had scored goals in the Israeli league where he had come from, and he'd scored goals in the youth national team ranks. But for his first time for FCD, that is not only a great goal, taking advantage of the space they give you off of the quickly taken free kick, a good moment of invention and recognition from Ramiro to say, hey, I think the best we can do right here is get Ron Benjamin 1v1 out wide, and I'm going to play this free kick quickly and play it short while they're on their heels, and that's what he does. He sets it up. He actually gets 2 assists tonight. We can talk about his performance later. But, to come in, take your man 1v1, create that space, and just play it with power and test the goalkeeper and ultimately beat the goalkeeper for a 3 points that, it felt at peril for a large majority of that game, even after Dallas started so strong.
I feel like we could talk a lot, and I think we will talk about some really good individual performances, Pedro Musa, Valiente, others. But what I really want to, where my mind goes right now is just the collective in how the desire to keep finding ways to either stay in the game or win the game or overtake the game is really super impressive from this bunch, from that Eric Quill has assembled. Finding the players that we talked about earlier this year, finding the players that he likes, the dogs. But look what's happening here. They go down to Austin. It's tough after the Toluca game, but they bounce right back, and they find a way there. That's off Lalas Abubakar set-piece goal, and then a Pedro Musa late strike. And then tonight, it doesn't look like a Dallas team in a lot of ways, and I mean that as a compliment because they find a different way. They start combining through the middle to find a couple of goals that way, and then you get a couple more from Pedro Musa, and then you get what you just talked about, Ron Benjamin, and in between, there is some good defending. There's some holes in there too. We're allowing a desperate RSL team, desperate for the home win, to find some space in places, but they find enough defending to win that one. Sarwab makes a couple of good saves, and I'm just really super impressed by now a team that's 6-3-2 on the road this year with a +7 goal difference. They're gonna top last year's points mark for all-time points on the road. I feel like they're gonna do that again. So just really impressed with how they keep finding ways to win, right?
And you mentioned RSL at home, 7-1-1 at home in MLS play. They won all 3.
Not anymore.
They won 2 of the 3 at home.
10-1-2 overall this year at home.
Incredible home record for RSL this season. And Dallas came in and ripped that one up as well. In just what a game, and so much to talk about, because it felt like truly, you get a game of 2 halves. This was really a game of 2 halves, and that a lot of that hinges on Musa being in there, Moreno being in there. But just to get that late winner, I think totally reframes the whole thing, because we would have been happy with probably a 3-3, all things considered. You're frustrated to throw away a 2-goal lead, but you have to acknowledge the reality of the situation and where things are at in terms of the wear and tear and the fatigue and the road trip and the travel miles. So to go and get the winner, I mean, it's just an incredible effort from the whole team and from that moment of quality for Ron.
To put some numbers to Steve's stat about the road points, Dallas's last year was the best at 23 under Quill. Dallas is at 20 right now, and we're not even through with August. There's a real chance that we could be sitting here next week at the end of the game against St. Louis, and they could have broken it with 2 months to go in the MLS season, 2 and change, because they're going to play a little bit into November with the regular season due to the World Cup. Like, that's a ridiculous situation that Dallas is. Ridiculous in a good way, I mean.
Yeah.
That they're going to be able to.
6 road games remaining after tonight.
Yeah, so there's a potential 18 points there. I'm not saying they're going to get all of them. But if they don't break the record, something has gone terribly wrong. And
and they won't get all 18. That's just
well,
not
you don't know
reality.
That.
But they have put up an incredible 2 points per game on this road stretch since leaving for Toyota Stadium when the renovations are going on. They played a couple before the World Cup break, and that doesn't even include Leagues Cup. So 2 points per game over this road stretch with 2 games still remaining before they can return home. I mean, incredible. We kind of talked about it on the FC Dallas agenda this week. Is this season actually going to be defined by can they figure out the home form? Because there's no doubt in my mind, and now the numbers are there fully to back it up. This is, if not the best road team in MLS, one of the top 3 with Miami and San Jose so far this season. Record-wise, they're all in sort of the same conversation. They can go in anybody's building and flip the script like they did tonight.
And with San Jose falling like a stone, Dallas, it might just be Dallas and Miami as we talk about this in like 3 weeks. As we kind of dive into the individuals, a lot of guys you can hand the metaphorical hat to. I don't know if the hat made it to.
I don't think it did. We weren't on the scene to bring the hat down. But,
well, the metaphorical hat will have to do. And I'm actually – I know the easy one would be give it to Musa because – and we're going to talk about him. But I want to start with Valiente, mainly because he didn't get as much love at halftime as I wanted to because we only have so much time to talk about so many good performances. But I think he has a goal. He leads off the scoring in the 17th. He assists on the 2 Musa goals. But not only that, he plays the entire game. You know, Musa comes out at halftime. So does Santi Moreno. Valiente goes the full 90 again and still looked largely productive for that full 90. And we're seeing a guy that, you know, we mentioned it at halftime. The end product was the thing we were kind of waiting on. He was showing the pressing. He was showing the awareness. He was showing the physicality. Well, now he's up to 10 goal contributions, goals, and assists this season. And I am just pleased as punch to see a signing that I think we were interested in but maybe not enthused about turn into one of Dallas's most important players right now.
Absolutely. I think for me, he's no doubt man of the match because he goes the distance, and he goes the distance without ever dropping the physical level once. I mean, he sprints for the entire 90-plus minutes. And he set up chances in the second half, too, that could have led to another assist or another goal. There was a sort of a 5 or 10-minute stretch of that second half when Dallas had made the changes before RSL made their changes, where it was actually Dallas that were sort of had the bit between their teeth and were creating chances, and a lot of that was due to Shaq Moore and due to Valiente, who were creative and industrial. That's not the word. Industrial in their pressing and creating chances in that way. So, a complete performance from him. Easily his best in terms of box score stats, a goal and 2 assists, but his impact went beyond just that as well. This is he's really blossoming into, I think, the player that we hoped he could be, but we just hadn't seen yet.
And I think, Steve, it's fair to say at this point, you know, we talk kind of about Quill guys, like Christian Kappas is a guy he played with. You know, there's some other guys that kind of embody the ethos, Sam Sarver, for example. I think we may have found the ultimate Eric Quill guy. We kind of alluded to it in the post-game show last time. But Valiente, the way he plays, just full-on, lung-busting runs. He's incredibly intelligent when it comes to what he does on the field. And now that he's pairing the end product with that, I think I didn't expect the Eric Quill guy in form to be like a 5'6" Uruguayan, but here we are, and boy, is it just wonderful to watch.
So what I'd said at halftime, I'll just reiterate that as we came into the break and you sort of assess everybody, where is everybody at that sort of mid? It's not the midpoint of the season, but it sort of feels like it. So what you say is, what is Joaquin Valiente giving you? And you would say he's giving you some industry. He presses, but the final product isn't really there yet, and he's just absolutely been supplying that now. And again, I'll tell you, it's not that he does any one thing at an elite level. It reminds me a little bit of Kellen Acosta. What I used to always say about Kellen Acosta is he didn't do anything at an elite level, but he did everything at a really good level. And when you've got a toolbox full of really good, and then you combine it with the industry that he always has, the big engine, he just goes and goes and goes, match after match. Then you start finding the end product, and he's smart about his movement. He's smart about the way he manages the game. He's smart in his pressing angles. He makes pretty good decisions with the ball, and he's just really found a way to put it all together now, so that it's showing up on the score sheet. And how doggone valuable was it tonight, huh?
And really, Ryan, when you think about it, to kind of close the loop on Valiente, I think on another team, if he did the exact same things that he did, it wouldn't be as useful, for lack of a better term. But he seems like with the things that he does, being this all-arounder that Steve, I think, very accurately describes, he has even more value to this specific system, to this specific coach, because the things that he excels at are the things that this system really requires its players to excel at.
Yeah, it's a case of a perfect fit from the process of scouting and bringing him in and understanding the type of player that he is. Not only the type of player, but the type of person he is. Clearly bought into the cultural side of the locker room, and fantastic guy off the field from what we've gotten to know of him so far. And I think huge credit goes to the whole scouting team and through to Andre Zanata and his whole staff to find this player that had some good moments in Ecuador with Barcelona SC, had some good moments in Uruguay, but to pick him out as the exact type of player that would thrive in this system. And we had to wait a little bit, and I think that's fair to give new signings around half a season to bed into the squad. And now that we had that a little bit of patience with him, not that he was poor in the first part of the season, but he was maybe not spectacular. Now we're seeing the player that they brought in, and look, this is still he's still a relatively young player. He's got a lot to give to this team on a long-term deal, and this is just the start of something potentially for Joaquin Valiente.
Meanwhile, his partner in crime tonight, Steve Peter Musa, that guy who's now leading the Golden Boot by not one, not two, but three over names like Evander and Lionel Messi, only put in 45 tonight, and I don't say that derogatorily, I say it just factually, because he didn't really need to do much else. He puts up a first-half brace, and he comes out at halftime, and sometimes that's all you need your best player to do, especially when you're in a stretch of like 8 games in like 12 days or whatever it feels like. He comes in, he gives full effort for that first 45, puts in a couple goals, and while he doesn't end up winning the game for you, he puts you in a whopper of a position too.
Yeah, I saw our friend Daniel Robertson ask the question on Twitter, why did they sub Peter Musa? And there's only one reason. He was exhausted. He's put in a lot, so I don't know. It almost looks like that was planned.
It sure does. Him and Moreno both.
Yeah, we're going to give you guys 45 minutes tonight. Give us everything you have. And we mentioned the other day that he looked really exhausted down in Austin. He said he knew he didn't play his best that night, even though he got a really important goal. So whether it was a planned sub or whether they said, do you need to come out? Do you have much left? And he just said, for the team, no, I don't. One way or the other, doesn't really matter. That was the only reason. Otherwise, no, of course you don't take him out. And by the way, I'm sure he wanted a hat trick, But so I think if he at all could have, or he probably wanted to stay in, and they probably said no. We're taking making the long play here.
Yeah, he has just absolutely found his stride now. Fully settled back into the team, coming back from the World Cup. He scored in that first game coming back against Portland, but after that, 4 without a goal. He had started 3 of those, but even in the game he didn't start, he played most of it against Querétaro. So not that he was playing poorly. We talked about in that stretch how he was pivotal to the goals that they scored. But to go from 4 without a goal, he was going to quickly correct that and make it 4 goals now in 3 games across all competitions.
You can't stop him. You can only hope to delay him in this case. And we're sitting here talking about history. He's on the doorstep again because he's got 16 goals in MLS. The Dallas record, as we very well know, is 18. Musa knows it because he's tied for it. There's a chance, I'm not saying it's a large one, that by the end of Saturday's postgame show, we could be talking about him tying it. And there's an even more real chance at the end of next Sunday's game against St. Louis, because, by the way, they get a whole week off. What a nice time.
What a luxury.
Just a lovely moment. We could be talking in the St. Louis postgame show if things go radically right. that he might have the record, and we won't even cross into September yet.
Yeah, incredible. And not only the individual record, for FC Dallas in a season, but he's chasing all-time MLS marks in another one, that came through tonight as he reached 50 career goals and then subsequently went on to 51. He's in the top 10 all-time for fastest to 50 goals in league history, a list led by Lionel Messi, Zlatan, Joseph Martinez, Carlos Vela. He's on that list. He's in the all-time greats of goal scorers in this league. He's also one that we read off on the agenda this week, one of only I believe 4 players ever to score 15-plus goals now in his first 3 seasons in the league, and that was Josef Martinez, David Villa, and Raul Diaz-Arce. And
not a bad list.
Petar Musa. These are the greatest goal scorers that we've ever seen in Major League Soccer, and we have been absolutely graced by one of them for the prime of his career here in Dallas. To see him, even when the team hasn't been great, to be individually excellent and to drag them through, and now that the team is getting to the level to be able to support him and really create chances for him, it seems like he's set to really explode and not just break the record and get past 18 and lead the Golden Boot race, but maybe just set an entirely new level of a watermark and get past 20 and maybe even 25 goals in a season, something that we've never even sniffed before at this club.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to break the 18-goal mark, why not shatter it?
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think, barring something that we don't want to talk about here, I think that's I think he's going to go well past it.
And I think, y'all started this discussion on the agenda this week, and I think it's worth noting, doesn't he kind of have to be the MVP favorite at this moment? Because if you're going off the literal name of the award, and I know that's not what this is there anybody more valuable in MLS to a team than Petar Musa? Like, take him away from FC Dallas. And that's a horror movie right there because I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I think he's right 1-2 with Evander probably right now.
That's a good shout.
If Houston continues doing what they're doing, Guilherme's right in there as well. But I would have Musa as the favorite. I think Evander probably would have the national vote right now. Just he's got a little bit of a higher profile. He's been in that conversation before as an MVP finalist. So but no doubt the form that he's in, he will be in that discussion. As long as it continues.
I think he's had the higher national profile, but it wasn't Evander scoring a goal against England in the World Cup.
That's
and
true.
Getting into the World Cup for your team, I think that means a lot, and you get a lot out of that. And then that's just getting into the team, getting on the field, scoring a goal in a big game. That gets you even more. So I think Petar Musa. What we talk about with the MVP, Brian, is that. It's not just the numbers. It's not just the performance. It's the performance when everybody's paying attention, right? Yeah. And I think even though it's not Major League Soccer, but people were paying attention when he scores a goal against England. So I think that's one in his corner.
And he had never scored, by the way, in 5 games against RSL. So he had to quickly
break that. Yeah, he took care of that in short order.
2 first-half goals, yeah.
So Musa VP, Moose VP.
We'll workshop.
Yeah, I'm gonna need y'all ready for that when September 5th. I'm gonna need everybody to get those MVP chants going when he comes back because he might be your record holder by the time that happens. And we've talked a little bit about this win being just impressive because of the way it happened. I would even say it's more impressive because if you look at how Dallas ended up making their changes, obviously Musa and Moreno come out at halftime in what we believe to be a scheduled change. In comes Logan Farrington and remarkably game-winning shot haver Ron Benjamin. You get Sam Sarver in the 84th, Christian Kappas in the 55th, and Sebastian Ibiaga in the 69th. It just didn't feel like save for a couple stretches during this game, that second half FC Dallas really had a lot going for them. They concede the 2 goals that make it 3-3. I don't think this was Logan Farrington's best game. I really don't feel like this was Christian Kappas' best game. Sam Sarver, I don't think did anything necessarily wrong. He just didn't really have an impact. But this is a game that Dallas, I would almost say, won in spite of themselves, especially in their second half performance.
It was one where you just felt like the physical level and with that the mental and the technical level was just slowly falling and falling and falling, and how long could you hold on and grip on the edge of the cliff before you eventually fell. The only one I would push back on in terms of the subs, I think Logan actually was really solid tonight. Technically really good in his hold-up play, combined with Ron on a couple of situations that I said on the broadcast. It was like they were doing their Musa Moreno impression, and they're not Musa Moreno, but they were like a good cover band in the second half potentially. So, just good work in the hold-up play, good running defensively. he was what they needed tonight, even if he didn't get himself on the score sheet. Somebody who stood out to me, not just in the second half, in the whole game, and obviously he really created one of the goals, was Shaq Moore. And it was so clear to me that he was fresher than everybody else. But it's one thing to just be fresher than everybody else. It's another thing to use that advantage, and that's what he did, and particularly creating that second Musa goal where he just decided he was going to go for it and sprint up that left side and not take no for an answer, get it to the byline. Not, you might see some players in that situation, okay, there's nobody for it, I'm just going to turn it back and we'll recycle possession. He felt like there was an opportunity there. You can always feel like there's an opportunity there when Petar Musa's waiting in the middle. But he kept the play alive, made it happen. Ultimately, Valiente gets the assist, but that's really all about Shaq Moore and his work rate. And then in the second half, he continued that when he switched out to playing as a wing back or a right back. It was kind of tough to tell whether they were playing between a 4 or a 5 at the back down the stretch. And in any formation, in any position, Shaq has been so excellent this season. He finally got a game off against Austin, and he came right back in at his best tonight, and they needed it.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what, you talked about that goal that Musa scored that Moore had a big hand. And remember, that's when they were playing the 3, so to get that far forward when you're playing in a 3-man back line, that's even more impressive because you're not really expecting that out of that position. And I know we're talking about Shaq Moore here, but remember on that play, on that sequence, it was Petar Musa holding the ball up inside his own half that then put the ball out into space for the on-running Shaq Moore, and then Musa getting back ultimately in position to score the goal. So another really good performance, from Shaq Moore, but that's sort of just par for the course this year. I continue to say, for me, easily defensive MVP is as good as Reguilé has been, as good as Nolan North's progress has been. I think Shaq Moore just keeps finding different ways to contribute to the team, and he sure did tonight.
One thing I think is worth I want to follow up on Ryan because I think you make a very good point. It's something we talked about a few post-game shows back. It seems like with the Moreno, Valiente, Musa trio being the best starting pairing, Dallas has did what we asked them to, and they've transitioned Logan into being the full-on, like, you're going to be the Musa cover man, to use your terminology here, because we're seeing him try to play like that, do the hold-up play, try to do kind of the Musa-like things, and I think that's a good thing for Dallas because it defines those roles, and I think in the long term that's going to pay off, even when maybe he doesn't score tonight, but he is starting to look a lot more Musa-ish in his skill set, and there's going to be games where you need to start him over Musa just because nobody can play as many minutes as these guys are doing without being a little tired. You might even see it against Vancouver on Saturday, although I don't know anymore based on what we've seen the last few days. I'm done predicting this anymore.
Yeah, it's become creative accounting in terms of how he allots the minutes. Tonight he said, okay, give me all you got for 45 minutes. Maybe it's the second half where he uses Musa next time.
Yeah, I don't have any idea anymore.
We don't know. We're guessing like everybody else, but clearly things are working right now. And I think, Logan, he's good at playing that off-striker role, but he's also good as being the lone striker. And from the first time he stepped foot on an MLS field, when he had been drafted out of college and Musa hadn't arrived yet, he'd been signed, but he hadn't arrived yet, he looked the part playing as the lone striker. So he can clearly do both, and tonight he did lead the line well and gave them an outlet in that second half when they needed it, and led the press well when they did step up the field. So I think we knew they had a great tandem, and in the first part of the season they had great chemistry together, and now it seems that they've kind of switched it up a little bit to where you've got a starter and you've got a closer, and you need both.
Yeah, you absolutely do. I'm never going to complain in MLS about having too many quality strikers, especially when you look around the league and so many teams have none, that you've got at least two is a really nice situation there. Before we take a quick look ahead at what's going to happen on Saturday, which we're watching one of the participants on as we finish out here, do we have any final thoughts on what was a very raucous Dallas 4, St. Louis, Salt Lake 3?
That's still a few weeks away.
Yeah, that's next week. Salt Lake 3.
I'm curious actually to throw a topic around.
Yeah, let's do it.
When you look at the box score tonight, Ramiro comes away 2 assists. When you watch the game, there were some frustrations, I think, with his performance. But at the same time, you saw how crucial he can be. It's such a conundrum with him. And Steve, I guess I'm curious most of all what you think about his performance tonight. And ultimately, into his 30s now. This is a guy that Eric Quill said, I can't live without him on the field right now, regardless of how many minutes he's been playing. He's out there. Since returning from injury, he's been ramping up to play 90 minutes now in consecutive games. And, there's clearly a good and bad in the same way we talk about, actually in a different way, but similar to how we talk about, Bernard Kamungo, he has his strengths and his weaknesses. Mm-hmm. But it's so obvious with somebody like Bernard Kamungo, and it's so obvious sometimes with a guy like Ramiro what those strengths are and why he's out there, and also the weaknesses and the frustrations can also pop off the screen equally.
So I'm trying to think of how I want to say this because I want to be careful here. But Ramiro is not a fast player, so he struggles to get into position sometimes, and he struggles to. There was once tonight I noted that he jumped a passing lane and he didn't get there in time, and Diego Luna got it behind him, and that created one of the goals. There are times when I'm frustrated because he tries to make entry passes that I don't think he can make. But there are also times when I can see that he's organizing people in the back. He's organizing the midfield. He can make a good entry pass every now and then. He might not have a high batting percentage of it, but he can make that pass sometimes. And so I guess where I fall on him is he the perfect 6 as the guy that sort of holds I know they don't really play with the designated 6, but he's the guy that screens the defense. Is he the perfect guy at that job? No. Is he the best they have and plays a valuable role within that? Yes, absolutely. Would I like the team to go out and get a high level screening midfielder, some kind of poor man's Rodri or something like that? Absolutely, I would. But is Ramiro invaluable in that he is the only guy that really has that skill set? Yes, he is, and that's why he keeps playing. They do need him in there.
Everything that Steve said, I 120% agree with. I don't think it could be any more accurate. I think with Ramiro, you're kind of doing almost you're doing kind of a checks and balances type deal. Does he add more than he subtracts? And I think right now the answer is still yes. Does he make some decisions that are kind of frustrating? Does he get behind? All those things are true. But I think the positives still outweigh the negatives. I don't know if you ask me that next year or 2 years from now, will that still be true? I don't know. We can't see the future. But especially, since we're sitting here in August of 2026, I just don't see anyone else on the roster that can do the things you do, specifically the mental things, the football IQ. Just nobody else really has. Like, he might be the smartest football player on the field at this point.
The other thing I'll say, Ryan, is that he came back off a long-term, fairly long injury.
Or so.
Yeah, and got right back in, and I sort of expected him to have to gain his fitness along the way, work him into fitness, and he really didn't. He's been playing a lot of minutes since then.
Yeah, I wonder too. We weren't watching prime Ramiro 4 years ago in Brazil. I wonder, has he really slowed down that much, or has this kind of always been his game? I would imagine
I think so.
That's more the case, right?
He's not a fast guy.
He's never been a fast player, and maybe he had a little more mobility a few years ago, but he's only 31. I mean, we're not talking about a guy that's 36 or 37 years old. So
no, I think this is who he is.
Yeah, I think tonight shows you both, the good and the bad that he gives this team, but ultimately he makes the heads-up play that sets up the winning goal, and that's not something that everybody in this squad would make. He's clearly, as Steve said, so important to the way the team plays in midfield. The other starting midfielder tonight was Kaique. Really weird game for him.
Yeah.
Ultimately got pulled in the 55th minute. Just couldn't connect with his passing at all tonight, and we see him have this game sometimes. Obviously, we know he's got plenty of off-the-field life things going on right now, which are all positive, right, as a new father. And maybe he just didn't sleep
He's probably not getting a lot of sleep.
Because it didn't seem like he was seeing the passing lanes very well tonight. But to be fair, neither was Christian Kappas when he came in. I think that secondary midfielder struggled tonight, but ultimately Dallas was able to power through that and work that last goal out of very little down the stretch. The midfield is still there to be upgraded, and the longer we go on in the transfer window without that activity, maybe it won't happen. But I think the team is showing that they have so much potential that adding that one quality piece in the middle could take them from a solid playoff team, which I think they are right now, to a genuine contender. And as we're sitting here watching Houston winning in the 73rd minute, the West, if Houston wins this game and Dallas goes up to Vancouver on Saturday, the West could be thrown up for grabs after this weekend. And from there, you have to look and say, we need to push our chips in around Petr Musa in this squad and this coach that is getting so much out of what he has right now. Can we give him that last piece to take it over the edge?
And to say that as well, to follow up on that, because you're 100% correct. You cannot guarantee next season if you're an MLS team, because you just never know. Think about like St. Louis, they win the West and then it all comes crumbling down. Even if you build a solid base, look at Seattle right now. They've been rock solid for a decade, and it seems like it's all falling apart. It's on fire up there in Cascadia. If you're the front office, this is the time to do it, because you're never guaranteed anything but right this minute. And this team has shown time and time again they are worth investing in. They're going to be a potential home field advantage playoff team if they keep up this rate. Push them over the top. Push your chips in. I'm banging on the table for a signing here. If I don't know who it is. I'm not trying to, Karnak anything here, but I really want to see, in part because I want to see this group and this coaching staff rewarded for such good work, because I think they really do deserve it. And to see them go on and do even greater things would be a good thing, not just for the now, but hey, there's a new stadium being constructed basically right outside where we're broadcasting from. If you reward that season right now and really bet in that culture, by the time it's finished, and it's going to look awesome when it's finished, that thing's going to be filled up because people are going to remember, hey, this team went for it when they had the chance. Like, you can not just buy your team some goodwill, you can buy your fans some goodwill too, and that's never a bad idea.
No, I think we're all aligned in that way, but I don't want any of that to take away from the group that is here and
Correct.
what they're doing, and what they've done in this month of August. Incredible. And we looked at this month of August and we said, hey, just tread water. Just come out at you came into it in 5th or 6th. Just make sure you're in and around that sort of same position, and then we'll go for it down the stretch when we return home. And they have just continued to take steps and leaps away from home, and that's just a huge credit to this squad. From the leadership of Eric Quill and the culture building that he's done to every individual up and down the roster. We saw, a perfect example of it with Lawless against Austin, where even the guys that aren't playing are doing their part in pushing the squad every day, and when they do get their opportunities, they're stepping in and doing well. So just huge credit to everybody that's a part of this right now, because they're really impressing me, and we've got an exciting stretch run ahead of us now.
As we all expected, Lawless Abubakar and Ron Benjamin, critical goals to win games down the stretch away from home.
That's what it takes.
Yep. That is what it takes. You're kind of blessed by fortune right now, and Dallas hope it continues, because we're not done. We've got one more game in this stretch before Dallas gets a whole week and a day. They get to play on Sunday Night Soccer. Wow. I don't know what they're going to do with themselves. They're probably just going to show up to Toyota Stadium and play a game anyway just to feel normal, but they will head up from Salt Lake to Vancouver. It's Whitecaps versus Dallas on Saturday night. Right now, as we're finishing up this postgame show, the Whitecaps are playing Houston, and the Dynamo are leading 1-0. There was a goal disallowed. Ryan Alumi had it, but VAR wiped it off. And, God, it feels so weird to say this is for control of the West, because it is. It's Houston has overtaken Vancouver for first place if this holds. Maybe that's different by the time you finish this podcast. But right now, Houston is the leader in the West, something that I both did not expect and am deeply, deeply uncomfortable with.
Yeah, we're coming for him. We'll play him again later this season, so hopefully that'll be a match that means a lot for the fans, obviously, for Copa Tejas, for El Capitan, but maybe it'll mean something in terms of those high positions in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I also love that Houston's given Vancouver a big run here, and maybe wearing Vancouver out a little bit.
It's the only thing about this I like. It's the only thing I like about this. Although Vancouver wants to steal a late equalizer, I'm not going to be too mad about it, or even a late winner, if we're being real honest. But we'll worry about that later, because it's an 8:30 kick up at BC Place on Saturday. So we will have coverage on the FC Dallas Radio Network starting at 8 o'clock with myself with pregame. And then Ryan and Steve will have kickoff for you at 8:30 on the Burncast on YouTube and on the FC Dallas app. You can catch the game. It's going to be a little bit like MLS after twilight, but come on through. If anything, we know Dallas is going to give you a good ride, because it has been a lot of fun lately. But that's going to do it for today's postgame show. FC Dallas wins 4-3 against Real Salt Lake at America First Field. For Ryan Figert and Steve Davis, I have been Sam Hale. You've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
The preceding broadcast has been a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
You push your body hard in the name of fitness. Sure, it's for a good cause. But a good cause shouldn't mean sacrificing a good time. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Want to hear something incredible?
The treatments are over, the infusions are done. Now you can get back to all the kid fun. We'll miss you lots, but you'll be happy to know